We've got 15 of the most upvoted Am I the A-hole Reddit stories for the month of December. Not gonna lie, y'all, we have some bangers this week, okay? Starting it off, with am I the a-hole for telling my wife that I will lose respect for her if she doesn't apologize? I'm not even lying, y'all. There were so many updates to this story. This segment is 45 minutes long, and this one is an absolute roller coaster. Genuinely, if you're gonna only listen to one story out of this entire video, let it be this one. But if you're cool like that and you're gonna stick around for the rest of the video, we've got 14 more absolutely insane stories for you guys, such as, am I the a-hole for hiding the fact that my youngest son is biologically ours, as well as the last story, the #1 most upvoted Am I the a-hole story for the month of December. Am I the a-hole for making my daughter's boyfriend buy a new t-shirt? Juicy stories today. Really quick, if you're new here, my name is Sarby. I've made over 200 reading Reddit videos for you guys that I record live with my audience on Twitch so that you guys can read and react to the stories with me. This is a series I do on my channel where I collect the 15 most upvoted for certain subreddits, put them all into one video for you so that you can enjoy the best stories chosen by Reddit. As always, my only call to action here is if this is your second or third video, please hit that subscribe button or follow if you're on Spotify. Just helps tell the algorithm to keep showing you my videos. And if this is your first video of mine, welcome. Good to have you. Hope you enjoy. Y'all know the drill. Let's lock in here and read some Reddit. Am I the a-hole for making my wife do all the chores since she used the chore money for herself? I work out of town at a very physically demanding job. Strangely enough, I am really lazy, but I make lots of money, so I have no problem paying for people to do all my housework and yard work. I have a cleaning lady and a kid that mows my lawn and shovels the snow. My wife knew all of this throughout our relationship. I didn't keep it a secret or anything. She actually seemed to appreciate that my place was always clean when she came over and that there was more than just pickles and beer in my fridge. Okay, I think that's important context. Like, if you didn't bamboozle your wife into thinking that you were doing all that stuff on your own and that you do that in the first place, I really don't think there's anything wrong with that. She lived with her parents to save money while she paid off her student loans. We discussed her living with me or even just in my house while I was gone, but she wouldn't go for it. Her family's very traditional. Anyways, we got married in September and she finally moved in with me. She is amazing and I am stunned by how hard of a worker she is. I also offered to pay off the remaining balance on her student loans, but she won't agree to that. What she did agree to, though, was to take over housekeeping and shopping in return for the money I used to pay my housekeeper being added to her budget. It kind of sucked, but a couple of the guys I work with took my housekeeper on, so she is doing okay. The problem is, her dad is big on doing all the work around his house. I am not. I pay people to clean my gutters, I pay plumbers, electricians, whatever. I work extremely hard for 14 days in a row, and when I'm home, I want to relax. I want to walk my dog, and not much more. My dog lived with my parents when I worked, but now he is home with my wife. Since we got married late in the year, my lawn didn't need to be mowed after our honeymoon. We have a weird year for snow, like we just got our first big dump. And since I was coming home last night, she told the kid not to shovel, and she kept the money. Whatever, we are a partnership, she can make decisions like that. However, despite whatever her dad has to say about it, I don't shovel. I could get hurt or worse, sweaty. Sorry, I'm giggling at that way too hard. So this morning I made sure she knew that if the snow wasn't removed in 48 hours, we would get a citation from the city. They would send out a crew to shovel and we would be charged for it at city union labor rates. She said I could shovel. I said I could, but I wouldn't since I had budgeted for someone else to do it. She ended up having to do it herself. She tried calling the kid, but he was going to school, so he couldn't do it until afterwards, but he had other clients to take care of. She is mad at me because I could have shoveled. I fully could have, but I didn't want to. I never want to. That's why I pay other people to do that shit. I don't even like that I have to unload the dishwasher now. I used to just throw dishes in there and they would end up in the cupboard. Am I the a-hole for assuming that if she took the money for a job, then she would take responsibility for that job getting done? Do I think that there is like a certain level of, hey, I don't like doing stuff that is a little unhealthy? Yeah. Do I think OP is a little bit borderline there? Maybe. But that being said, I don't think if you're making enough money and you're working a job where you're gone for 2 weeks straight and the boundary that you set up is, hey, I can afford this thing, and because I can afford it, I'm going to do it because it makes my life easier. And OP was very clear about communicating that and letting the wife know that this is what he wants and this is what he needs, not only out of his life, but out of his relationship. And then now the wife is trying to throw a wrench in that cog. I do think she's wrong. I think I have to go with not the a-hole. I see a couple people calling him petty in chat, which maybe I don't disagree with that, but I think sometimes you can be petty while also establishing your boundaries. I think what OP is doing here is OP is establishing, hey, in the future, I'm not gonna let this fucking fly. Like, I think if OP had been like, you know what, I'll do it this once, just whatever, but never again, I think what he's telling his wife is she is allowed to do those things and he will pick up the slack from it. He will give in to what she wants, which I don't necessarily agree with. Assuming that everything OP is communicating is being done in a healthy way, and this in no way, shape, or form is putting the wife in a bad position, I think he should be allowed to pay people to do things that he doesn't want to do because he has the money for it. And he should establish that and enforce it. Not the a-hole let the man outsource his manual labor. I mean, as somebody who outsources not to this level, like I get a cleaner every like 2-3 weeks in here just to deep clean. Like, that's the thing that I hate. I don't mind loading my dishes. I don't mind putting away my clothes and shit, but I hate deep cleaning. I hate vacuuming. I hate mopping. It makes me genuinely upset. I think it's fine for people to budget their money around the things that makes their life more enjoyable. Like, that's all life is. I don't go out and get coffees all the time. That's not something I need to enjoy life, but I like spending $100 or so once or twice a month to have my apartment cleaned for me. I think that's fair. And like, I'd also want a partner that's okay with that. I wouldn't want a partner who's like, oh, well, you can't spend your money in that way, you know, assuming that we can afford it. Like, you can't spend your money in that way because I don't want you to. I want you to just clean. I'm gonna be like, no, bro, absolutely not. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that I will lose respect for her if she doesn't apologize? My wife and I have 3 kids. Thursday, my wife was helping our 9-year-old with her homework. She was supposed to fill in a chart with the times tables. That was a hectic day. Our 4-year-old threw up and I was trying to clean him up, and my wife was having trouble getting our 9-year-old to focus on what she was doing because she kept looking at me. Our 9-year-old hates math and is pretty bad at it, which annoys my wife, who is usually fantastic at math. My wife asked our daughter what 7 times 7 was. Our daughter said she didn't know. My wife kept telling her to try to think of any answer. She kept saying she didn't know. My wife was getting frustrated. Our daughter finally guessed 37. My wife said, close, 47. Our 13-year-old then said, no, mom, it's 49. For all y'all that don't know, it is in fact 49. My wife snapped at that point and told him to shut up and go upstairs. He went into the backyard instead. That's a little bit of an overreaction and not a correct reaction of what a parent should say to their child. She took a deep breath and then went to our room. I finished with our 4-year-old and then went outside. I tried to talk to him, but he didn't want to listen. He kept saying, but dad, 7 times 7 is 49. I told him his mom just got frustrated and didn't mean to yell at him. He kept insisting that 7 times 7 is 49, which I'm aware of. So I got nowhere. No, bro, that's super confusing and annoying for a kid. I went back inside to talk to my wife. She said she knew she shouldn't have yelled. She said she was frustrated because he was distracting her, and that's why she made the mistake. I pointed out that she made the mistake before he said anything. She started crying and asked why I was being so critical. I apologized and told her I loved her. We hugged it out, but then I asked her if she was going to go and apologize to our 13-year-old. She said no, because he shouldn't have interrupted her. She said he was rude and needed to learn not to interrupt. Dude, that's so petty. When the mature one in the conversation is the 13-year-old, like, you need to get your head out of your ass, dog. I told her it's not okay to tell him to shut up. We went back and forth, and finally I said I won't be able to respect her as much if she doesn't apologize. That really hurt her. She said she needed space. She hasn't said a word to me or him since Thursday. I know what I said is harsh, but I can't respect someone who won't apologize when they make a mistake. Am I the a-hole? My sister says I am because I'm not being supportive, and our 13-year-old is a lot. All right, bro. So, like, what are these women in your life? A mother who can't apologize to her son for telling him to shut up when he was right. Like, if you're already trying to teach someone who's not good at math and you tell them the wrong answer, you should be corrected. And then what the fuck is this sister? Hey, yeah, you should support your wife even when she's fucking wrong. Oh, and by the way, your 13-year-old is a lot. And the 13-year-old who's a lot in this question is just somebody who's smart and knows the right answer. I'm going with not the a-hole. I think bare minimum of having children is showing them how to respectfully disagree with someone is so important. Or showing them that when you do have your bad moments and you yell at someone to shut up, you can come to your senses and take accountability for the things that you did and apologize. I think that's bare minimum of a parent to do when you're in a situation like this, let alone when you're talked to by your partner who checks you. Even if like her argument that the child had interrupted was merited, I really don't think the 13-year-old interrupted. Like, an interruption to me is if you're trying to teach someone something and the person comes in, cuts you off, and is like, hey mom, where's this thing that I'm looking for? That's an interruption. But to hear the mom say the wrong answer and them to chime in and be like, hey, just really quick, that's not the right answer, it's this one. That's not an interruption. Who says shut up to a child regardless of the reason? I think that's probably the biggest thing I have a problem with. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand being frustrated to the point where you just like say something that you don't mean, but I'm just of the belief that when you do say something like that, especially to your kid, who you should just love and nurture as best as you possibly can, and I know that it's unrealistic to expect that 100% of the time perfect, but to not be able to backtrack and be like, okay, what I said was not okay, that's where I have a problem. Even if the he interrupted argument was valid, the way that you communicate that to a child is not by telling them to shut up. The way you communicate that is by going, hey, so I was in the middle of saying something, you butted into our conversation, you are interrupting, that's rude, please do not do that. If you do that again, I'm gonna have to send you out of the room. Update, my wife got up before our alarm and started cleaning our bathroom. I started the laundry and made breakfast. She didn't say a word when we sat down to eat. She ate much faster than normal. She stood up, picked up our 4-year-old and told our 9-year-old to get ready because they were going to the library. She didn't say anything to our 13-year-old. I told her we need to talk and she shook her head. I followed her upstairs and insisted that we needed to talk. She just kept shaking her head. She went into our 4-year-old's room and locked the door. I went downstairs and told our 13-year-old and 9-year-old that we are going to the dog park. They both asked if mom was okay, and I said yes, and that she needed space. I grabbed some clothes for our 9-year-old from the laundry room, and she got changed in the downstairs bedroom. We are at the dog park. My wife is refusing to answer my texts. I'm starting to think this isn't about math. Uh-oh. Based off of the 6 more updates that we have, I'm guessing it is also not about math. You guys are saying it in chat. Locking yourself in your child's room is fucking crazy. Not being willing to have a conversation with your partner and giving them the silent treatment, immature as fuck. I understand being like, hey, I'm not in a headspace to have a conversation about this. Can we revisit it tonight? That is the mature way that you communicate. Hey, I'm just not ready to talk to you right now, and talking to you will not result in a productive conversation. Full silent treatment to me is just immature as fuck. She's acting like a child over a small issue. It's definitely about something else. The other thing I really quickly want to point out, don't really have anything to say about it because I don't feel like I'm tapped into how kids act like that, but I will say the 13-year-old's reaction is very interesting. Not saying that there's anything weird going on with the 13-year-old necessarily, but I was a little raised eyebrow about how OP was like explaining. I tried to tell him that his mom was having a bad time and all he was saying was, but it's 49. That's some tism shit. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. So the way I found the person was they have this update that we're about to read. We're gonna read most of these posts, but the 2 that I'm not gonna read, but are maybe important to point out, after the update, OP put in r/neurodiversity and r/medical advice, should I have my child reevaluated? Specifically, should I have my teenager reevaluated for autism? It's interesting you bring that up, actually. I kind of forgot about that. They should be looking into that. The wife surely isn't helping by lashing out on her possibly autistic child. No, for real. So first update here, I don't know exactly what the timelines are for all of this, especially because I don't have the first post, but I'm guessing it's pretty soon after the first post. Yesterday, Sunday, my wife wanted to take the 2 younger children to the library. I tried to talk to her, but she locked herself in our 4-year-old's room. I took our older 2 children to the dog park. She took our 4-year-old to the library. At the dog park, I talked to our 13-year-old. I explained to him that a lot was going on right now and his mother was overwhelmed. I said that sometimes when a person is overwhelmed, the next thing that happens, good, bad, or neutral, is the thing that pushes them over, and the source of that thing, good, bad, or neutral, is what they lash out at. I said his mom was wrong to lash out at him, but it wasn't his fault, and she didn't really mean it. I said she was embarrassed, and that was why she was avoiding him. All right, well, good on the dad to fucking at least try to clarify, because I'm sure that 13-year-old isn't doing well. He said that wasn't fair, and we kept going back and forth. I was trying to help him understand he didn't do anything wrong and shouldn't feel bad, but all he could focus on was that he was being treated unfairly. I told him that it was unfair, but that his mom isn't perfect and everyone makes mistakes. I said sometimes he is unfair, but we forgive him because we love him. I said forgiving his mom, even though she is wrong, would be a nice way to show his love for her, but that he doesn't have to. Again, he just said that the situation was unfair, which it is. It really is. After the dog park, I took our 13-year-old to a friend's house and our 9-year-old to a friend of mine's house. I went home and made dinner. However, my wife went out for dinner with our 4-year-old, so she didn't get home until after I had put everything away. I told her that we had to talk now that the older kids aren't here and that not talking wasn't an option anymore. She still ignored me. So I said that if she wouldn't engage with me, I would have to call our sisters and get them to come over to help me. I don't really see what that'll do. This is such a crazy overreaction on her part. Did OP say anything detrimental to her, or at least provide information that he did? She started crying and asked why I was being so critical. I apologized and told her I loved her. We hugged it out, but then I asked her if she was going to go and apologize to her 13-year-old. Interesting. I wonder if it's like a I can do no wrong type of situation then. She got very angry, but she finally engaged. She told me that she is drowning. She said work is exhausting, and every day when she gets home, her patience is already below 0. She is scared and upset by our 4-year-old's stomach issues. She said he threw up again at dinner. She really shouldn't have taken him out to eat because we are supposed to be keeping track of everything he eats before throwing up or not throwing up before the appointment day, which is impossible to do at a restaurant, but I didn't mention that. She said she can't take our 13-year-old's behavior anymore. I said he didn't do anything wrong Thursday. She said that when we were that age, if we interrupted our parents to tell them they were wrong, we would have been punished severely. Wait, hold on. First off, who is we? I think we're getting to some severe childhood trauma here. This is a very generous we right now. She said we raised a spoiled, entitled child. She said she can never get any peace and quiet in our own home that we worked hard to pay for because we have a spoiled teen that refuses to ever stop talking or making noise. I said we've been working on those behaviors and he has been improving, but she lashed out when he was trying to be helpful. And that sends the wrong message. Yeah, bro, I mean, no offense, but what did you expect when you were having a kid? It is once again the sunshine and rainbows ass Republican way of thinking about having kids. They're like, oh yes, I'm gonna have this kid and everything's gonna be sunshines and rainbows. It's gonna be the most perfect kid in the world. And there's no way that this kid's gonna grow up to be a teenager and give me grief. And then lo and behold, the kid grows up to be a teenager and gives you grief. You had children. If you wanted quiet, you shouldn't have had kids. Exactly. I'm sorry, if you're complaining about, oh, I need my quiet, I need my peace, good for you, but I feel like you can't complain about that if you have kids. You just can't. You can't, bro. That's what you signed up for. Kids are loud as hell. She told me that I'm not supporting her. She said she needs things to change. She said we need to crack down and stop being so lenient. Okay, bitch, what do you mean by crack down? If he plays the recorder after we've told him he's done for the night, we need to take it. If he interrupts, he needs to go straight to his room. If he argues about curfew, he needs to lose privileges. I told her we need to take a step back. I said if she's overwhelmed, she needs to take a break. I told her this heightened emotional state is a bad time to make huge household changes. I suggested, like many commenters did, that she get a hotel for a few days and decompress. She said she's not the problem, in parentheses, I didn't say she was, and that our son is. She said he was bad from the beginning. She said when our daughter didn't have all of his issues, she thought it was because she is a girl. But our 4-year-old is a boy and he is also better behaved. So he is the problem. My God, he's a fucking 4-year-old. He has 9 years to become a terrorist. What are you talking about? Of course your 4-year-old who can barely put together words isn't gonna talk back to you and interrupt you. He's 4! I do have to say, y'all, I still feel like we're not getting to the real issue here. Is it me or is she stretching? None of these are real issues. She's grasping at straws here just to try to find something that's a problem and turn this on OP. Y'all are saying she's ableist? Ooh, that could definitely be it. Don't get me wrong, they don't have a diagnosis yet, but I could totally see her being like, that's not real, our child doesn't have that. She also said I've always seen it and used to admit it, but stopped to make her look crazy. For context, I used to joke that our 13-year-old is a changeling because he likes to be outside so much, loves animals, and loves playing on his recorder. I want to stress that this was a joke. God damn, what an awful instrument to be interested in. I was like, is he playing the recorder for a school assignment? But bro's playing that shit for fun? The reason I stopped making this joke is because I noticed my wife didn't find it funny anymore. This was years ago anyway. I told her all of this, but she said no. that I saw even then that he was wrong, but I stopped acknowledging it to make her feel like the problem. Okay, so that is kind of confusing me, but I think what she's saying here is that OP is intentionally not calling the 13-year-old a bad kid anymore because he wants to gaslight her into making her feel like she's crazy for thinking that the 13-year-old is crazy. I think that's what that line was trying to communicate there. She also said she's been seeing an online therapist. In parentheses, I had no idea. She said she didn't tell me because she was embarrassed. Her therapist told her that our son has dangerous tendencies and shows signs of being contemptuous towards women because he doesn't respect his mother. I had no idea how to respond to that. I said any therapist who would say something like that about a child they've never met shouldn't be licensed. And if it's an online therapist, for all she knows, they aren't. Chat, do we think she's making this shit up? TikTok live therapist. Oh, someone said ChatGPT a therapist. Dude, I wonder if it's that. That's crazy. I mean, granted, maybe he is omitting some crazy shit this 13-year-old is doing, but based off what we've gotten from this story, calling anything that he's doing dangerous tendencies and signs of contempt towards women is insane. At the end of our conversation, she agreed to go to the hotel only if she took our 4-year-old with her because she wanted to be the one to take him to his medical appointment. I didn't think that was a good idea at all. However, she ended up just taking him and going. I picked up the kids and brought them home. They sensed that something was wrong and were very subdued this morning getting ready for school. I talked to my boss when I came in and he is going to let me leave early to go to our 4-year-old's medical appointment. I am not sure what will happen there. I am hoping it will be good news and that will make us all feel less on edge. You guys are saying it in chat. I'm also scared for this fucking 4-year-old. I feel like we're missing something. I mean, there's so many updates, so hopefully we'll be filled in, but I just really feel like this is not the real root of the issue. There's something more going on with the wife. I have no clue what it is. It could be like she's using ChatGPT as a therapist. It could be like what you guys are saying about her being ableist deep down. I don't know why, but it doesn't feel like to me that she's telling a full truth here. It feels like to me that she's grasping at things to try to make up a reason that OP will just accept and also allow her to like gaslight and manipulate him. But yeah, it seems like she's just grabbing at anything to try to explain her reasoning and argue that OP is the bad guy here. Someone said maybe some cheating. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not really seeing any cheating necessarily. Ooh, she hates the 13-year-old and has some weird obsession with the 4-year-old. Is that a thing? Like parents getting overly obsessed with one kid over the other, or like deciding to put all their eggs in one basket on one kid and then try to turn the other parent against the other kids? I mean, that's crazy. What about the 9-year-old, bro? The 9-year-old's just chilling. All we know about the 9-year-old is they hate math. Middle child was forgotten in this story. Oh, sounds about right. I share the middle with my sister. We're the forgotten children. Wee woo. I want to see where this is going, and the title for the next one is kind of wild. I'm reading all of these stories in order. So we just read the first main update, and then before any other updates, OP drops this r/off my chest post titled, "My wife lied to me and I don't know who she is anymore." So I thought that this might bring in some extra info for us. I should probably stop posting online. It's in all likelihood an unhealthy coping mechanism. The thing is, this has become the only place I can speak freely. In my real life, I have to be so careful with every word I say. I just need to say one more thing to get this off my chest and then be done. It wasn't always like this. Most of this story is a romance. I met my wife in college. I liked her immediately. She was beautiful, of course. She was funny and smart, naturally. The thing that made me attracted to her, that made me want her, was that she was sharp. I have always loved sharpness in women. I was sharp myself back then. We sharpened each other. We were the couple that sat in the back of every room with our noses turned up, judging everyone, whispering comments just loud enough to be heard, and just cutting enough to hurt. We thought we were so smart and sophisticated. Our tastes were the most refined, and we didn't think anything was uglier than a rounded edge. If somebody said in chat, this makes me not like OP. That has to be the most fucking snobby-nosed way to describe you and your wife's relationship. Hey man, could you suck your dick a little bit harder? Bro went full on him and his wife. When I first asked her out, she told me we wouldn't work because her father wouldn't approve. I didn't care about her father. I cared about her. The more time we spent together, the more I loved her. Her father's first words to me, even before hello, were that I wasn't good enough for his daughter. He refused to come to our wedding, but the day after, he gave my wife $20,000 for a down payment because no daughter of his was going to be a renter. I never liked him, but I was amused by him. I thought of him as my wife and I's private joke. He was so ineffectual against our love. When he saw our first baby, he said, "He looks like his father." And I was such a puffed up peacock, high on my own virility. I was too proud of my strong seed, my overpowering genes, to see that for what it was, a condemnation. What the fuck am I reading, bro? Strong seed is insane. What? All right, now I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. Maybe OP is the problem. Bro just lost my faith in him in 3 paragraphs. When I held my firstborn for the first time, the world felt different. I felt different. I felt silly and immature. I began to understand the utility of the rounded edge. I saw how unimportant my high-minded philosophy was. Babies don't care how clever you are. They eat, cry, and poop, and they are the most important thing you'll ever do. I softened up. I began to understand my parents. I always adored my mother, while also looked down on her. Her politics were boring, her philosophy uninspired, her religion sentimental. When I held my baby, I understood my mother like I had never had before. She was soft, not sharp, and that was what my child needed from me. A soft place to land, not a razor's edge. We managed to adjust to every change in our lives. We always found our equilibrium. About a year ago, that slipped away. Our toddler was struggling with potty training, and he had the occasional bad bout of diarrhea. Our daughter began to dip below average at school. Our oldest became the worst thing a person can be: annoying. I mean, I could think of other things that are worse. A Republican, a racist, a Trump supporter, a serial killer. Don't get me wrong, annoying people do be kind of annoying, but like, I feel like we're being a little over dramatic here, my guy. Also, it's like, hey man, when you had kids, this is what you signed up for. You're gambling on what kind of fucking person that child becomes. Especially a child, by the way. Like what, you just expected your kid to come out of the womb prim and proper? We, who had once prided ourselves in our cleverness, were being outsmarted by a pedantic 12-year-old. You didn't say I could only spend $20. You said I couldn't buy anything over $20. Each of these 20 things are $5. Type nonsense. It was the grandparents' revenge, right? Oh, that's the kind of little asshole I used to be. I see why some people hated me, but he's a good kid. He doesn't steal, hit, curse, or lie. He argued, he talked too much, and he complained. But isn't that all a symptom of cleverness? He was too much like us. However, he was also nothing like us. This child we created, but isn't that good? Don't we want our children to be individuals? Yes, the arguing and interrupting had to be curbed, but we worked on it. He improved, he started to mature. Life was a struggle, but he wasn't the struggle. This parenting thing is hard. My wife cracked. It happens, we've all been there. Our son corrected a mistake she made and she was embarrassed. She screamed at him to shut up. I asked her to apologize because he didn't deserve that. She shut down. She told me that she was overwhelmed. I get it. I'm overwhelmed too. I think I've been overwhelmed for a long time and just refused to acknowledge it. I told her to take a break. She took a break. My wife, who I've always trusted, lied to me. She said she quit her job. That was a lie. She did not quit. She was suspended, and she will likely be fired on Friday or possibly next week. She's been telling me all year that her coworkers are incompetent and she is the only one doing her job correctly. In actuality, she has been in a performance improvement plan for months. Why was she suspended? She was telling a coworker that he needed to finish something by the end of the month to keep them on track for a February 3rd deadline. He interrupted her to tell her the deadline was March 2nd. She screamed at him to shut up and not interrupt her. Okay, a pattern. She did the same thing to her coworker she did to our son. The only difference is our household doesn't have an HR department. She lied to me. Is that what I should be hung up on? Probably not. Here's what's killing me. Here's what I can't say in real life to anyone, so I'll tell you. I always thought she was sharp, and I loved that. I thought I was so sophisticated for recognizing her elegance and worth. I felt special for loving her. But maybe she isn't sharp. Maybe she's just thin-skinned and irritable. Yeah, she lied to me, but maybe I lied to myself first. It's giving a man who every time he opens his mouth, he thinks that he has something so deeply philosophical to say. Like every thought that comes out of this man's mouth, he's just like, this is the best thing that's ever been said in the history of humanity. Bro, I'm just so sharp, but maybe I wasn't so sharp after all. Roll the fucking credits. Okay, well, this post didn't do wonders for how I feel about OP. I still think the wife's the problem. I think it's good info to know that she got fucking, well, not fired yet, but probably is going to get fired for the same shit that she pulled on her son. Don't get me wrong, like OP is a problem here, and I'm glad that he rounded his edges or whatever the fuck he said. Because like from the first couple posts, I wasn't getting that he was a bad parent. Like he was talking to to his kid and really trying to help them understand that they did nothing wrong, which, like, you know, good parenting there. I do think people can change. I'm just more dubious of OP now. I don't know why, but like I was like so far on OP's side, and now I'm a little bit closer to the middle. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to defend the wife because she sounds awful too, but maybe, just maybe, the OP did something wrong that he's not telling us about. OP has matured more than his wife has. I will say the tone of this post didn't give me a truly matured human being vibe. Here's the thing, copycat killer, I don't think we can go to everyone sucks yet. I think we need more information. Even if OP is a little bit of an insufferable person, I also think they haven't done anything wrong yet. There's nothing wrong that OP has done other than write an incredibly weird r/off my chest post. But like I said, now I'm a little bit more dubious. Now I'm a little bit more like, okay, he definitely loves his children. I agree with that, hippie mom. I don't think he has malice towards his children, and I do think it seems like he wants the best for them, which that's what you can ask from a parent. I think they both have at least a bit of a superiority complex. I think so. And I don't know what to do with that yet, because I don't think that OP's superiority complex is necessarily shown any sort of toxicity. But now that we know that it exists, I think it's just gonna keep me on my toes a little bit more. But yeah, that would explain all of the wife's behavior. He committed the worst crime he could commit, being cringe on the internet. He was a little cringe, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know who the fuck was writing that shit, but that was corny as hell. I retrieved our 4-year-old at his doctor's appointment the next day. She stayed at the hotel alone Monday and Tuesday night. That's good. I know we were concerned about the 4-year-old's safety, so good move there, OP. Wednesday, she told me she quit her job. She did not quit her job. A concerned coworker of hers reached out and revealed the truth. She was suspended for yelling at a coworker to shut up. She picked the kids up from school plus daycare Wednesday. After they were asleep, I confronted her. We fought, and she went to stay with my sister. Well, this might actually explain the sister defending OP's wife. Sounds like they're close. With my sister's influence, she called her boss and managed to work out a compromise where she won't be fired and can have some mental health leave. She didn't see the kids all weekend, even when my sister picked them up Sunday to take them to a party. She's back home now, so here's where the update starts. Do I be an asshole here and make the bold prediction that the wife is cheating on OP with OP's sister? Is that too far-fetched, chat? Am I shooting for the stars here? Update. I had our 13-year-old evaluated by a child psychologist like so many Redditors suggested. If you learn anything from my experience, learn not to take medical advice from Reddit. Our son is not autistic and does not have ADD. The psychologist said the only thing he comes close to meeting the diagnostic criteria for is anxiety. But based on their discussion and the paperwork I filled out, she's confident those symptoms come from external stressors, not an anxiety disorder. My wife came home after work, and when our son arrived home from his friend's house, she did apologize to him. He forgave her and they hugged it out, but it was an awkward interaction. Afterwards, he went outside to play with his new harmonica. I'm sorry, you guys. My friend who is very, very autistic loves the harmonica. Listen, I'm not saying that the doctor didn't do a good job, but I would just maybe do your due diligence and get a second opinion. Me personally. I'm so sorry. That's so funny. My son doesn't have autism, but he's gonna go play with his harmonica. I'm sorry. I'm probably being an asshole. I'm sorry. I just thought that was really funny. My daughter doesn't have a learning disability. I talked to her teacher. Her math skills are average for her age group, according to the teacher. The teacher suggested that if she's struggling to do the math work at home, it is because she feels pressured. I ended up telling her that she can do the work in whatever time frame she wants, and she can have her brother check it for her. So neither her mother nor I will know if she made a mistake. She seems happy with this new arrangement. I think my wife and I were too critical in our eagerness to encourage her to work hard and do well, and I accept culpability for that. Okay, so what you're saying is we have 2 kids who both feel pressured. The 9-year-old feels pressured about learning math, and your son has external stressors. I am picking up on a pattern here, chat. Also, guys, just a side note, if you guys have kids that are struggling with math and or reading, highly recommend Kumon. Don't get me wrong, it's a very privileged thing. It's kind of expensive, so like, I recognize that. But if you have the money and your kid is struggling, I couldn't recommend Kumon more. I hated it. It was miserable. I don't know how my mom put up with the hours and hours and hours I complained about it, but I will say I am to this day not fucking stupid because my mom forced me to do Kumon. I shit you not, guys. I was at the lowest in my class at like the reading level and math level, and within a year, I was at the top taking the test for the gifted kids class. Don't get me wrong, it's super expensive and every kid should honestly have access to the shit that Kumon does, but I couldn't recommend it more, guys. That's my little tidbit. As much as I hated it, it was so helpful. Our 4-year-old is allergic to soy. Since I stopped feeding him anything with soy in it, he hasn't vomited once. He will soon be reintroduced to soy in very small doses to acclimate him. He is doing much better, and this has relieved a huge source of stress. As for my wife, as I said, she apologized to our son. She said talking to my sister helped a lot. She told me the reason she's been so overwhelmed and she lashed out was the realization that we aren't going to have another kid and the 3 we have are it. She said she is worried that our kids are spoiled and soft. She said she wants our kids to bypass their peers and she doesn't see that happening right now because they're too undisciplined and unmotivated. She said some of her parents' parenting might be what they need. Wait, what is this Republican ass bullshit, man? What is this military dad horseshit I'm hearing right now? Oh my God. Hey, you want to know the fastest way you can fuck up your kids in the head? Have unrealistic expectations of them and compare them to other kids. If you want to speed run no contact, go for it. I told her I would never be okay with that, and that would be a deal breaker for me. I also told her I don't see how anxiety about the kids caused her to lash out at work. I said that I think she is frustrated by the fact she can't control people. She said that's unfair, and I apologized, but also said I think that an issue similar to what I said is likely the culprit. We agreed to a compromise where she tries to relax until she leaves for her trip with my sister. What fucking trip? If she feels like she is getting stressed out, she will leave for as long as needed. We will talk about parenting strategies again after she gets back. I've hired a lawyer and didn't tell her. If she again tries to insist that we go full authoritarian on the kids, I will raise the possibility of divorce. I love my wife, but I owe it to my kids to put them first. All right, OP, you earned a little bit of my respect back, but don't write another off my chest post like that ever again. OP's out of the doghouse, chat. I kind of fucks with him. Putting himself between an authoritarian regime parenting style and his kids is probably the best parenting thing that you can do. I have to give him credit there. He's not on the shit list anymore. It's just the wife. There's a lot of unexplained things here, I feel like. Especially with the subtle mention that OP's sister and the wife are going on a vacation together and that talking to OP's sister helped her figure things out. Bro, my bold prediction might be a home run, chat. It could be. It's a gaycation. They must surrender to the gaycation. What happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. Yeah, they're definitely kissing. The sister also saved the wife's job. That's a good point, Miz. I feel like the sister is very involved and very defensive of the sister, and I'm not quite sure why. I feel like there's some hanky-panky happening here. Next update here. Title of it is, My Wife Isn't Coming Home. Listen, I just need to vent. My wife is on vacation with my sister after a mini mental breakdown. She just WhatsApped me that she isn't coming back. She said she needs to make some changes and the new year is the perfect time. She told me that a startup working on a cause she is passionate about is looking for someone in her field and she's taking the job and moving to the opposite coast. Shock doesn't feel like the right word. It doesn't feel big enough. She wanted to stress that she isn't leaving me, that she just needs to pursue her passion. Bitch, what is your definition of leaving someone then? You are quite literally not only leaving your husband, but your 3 children. And where's the sister in this? What does the sister have to say about all this? She said if this startup takes off, we could all move to where she is going and resettle and get a fresh start. She also said that this new job is closer to the clinic our son's pediatrician recommended for his allergy treatment. I started to argue with her, but then I deleted the message. We're doing okay without her, as awful as that sounds. Maybe she needs this. I looked into this startup. I don't think it will take off, but maybe she needs a break from us to recenter herself. So I told her I love her, that I believe in her, and that I'm proud of her for following her dreams. What else could I say? Call her a fucking dumb bitch for abandoning her family for a year out of nowhere? My sister is pissed at her for abandoning us, and this has pretty much ruined their trip. I think I should feel bad about that, but I'm too burnt out. 2026, it's going to be a year. Fuck, maybe my bold prediction is not so correct. I thought the sister would be like, I'm also moving with her. Hee hee. I got her the startup job. Yes, she going to a startup? Start up my pussy. Sorry. I had to do it. Yeah, bro, I think you should have not said this. I think you tell her absolutely fucking not. You can't abandon your family like that. If anything, I think this is just your sign to start the divorce proceedings. If your family is doing better without your wife, it's time to cut her loose, my guy. Snip, snip, chop, chop. Chad, how much you want to bet it's some fuck-ass AI startup? It's an AI chatbot for Republicans when they're all lonely as fuck because nobody wants to talk to them for supporting ICE. That actually might make a little bit of money, guys. I can't lie. New business idea? An AI for Republicans, but the AI just tells them to KYS. Nope, I'm sorry. That... Nah, bro, I meant that one. I'm sorry. Guys, I want to keep going. Bro is really leaving us on some cliffhangers here. I do think he should divorce his wife. I think it's time, my guy. We cut the cords right about meow. The next title of the second to last update is What Happened While My Wife Was Overseas. I have an appointment with a lawyer tomorrow to file for divorce. In my last update, I told people that my wife wasn't coming home, but I still think I can fix things if I give her space. I mean, do you even want to fix things? Like, bro, I've gotten the ick for you. I think she's having a midlife crisis, and if you try to put up with it, you are gonna be sorely disappointed, traumatized, and the same thing's probably gonna happen to your kids. In my last update, I told people that my wife wasn't coming home, but I still think I can fix things if I give her space. I no longer believe that. Several of you, most of you, not very nicely, told me that she had abandoned our family. I didn't want to believe it, but you are right. I picked up my sister from the airport this morning and we had a long conversation where she filled in details. When my wife, her sister, my sister, and her wife got to the resort, everything was fine at first. Hold on, chat. My wife, wife's sister, my sister, and the sister's wife. You guys, my bold prediction might be back on the table. We're so fucking back, chat. It didn't take long for my wife's sister to show her ass, though. She called my sister a slur that rhymes with bike. She called my sister's wife a stick with P instead of T. So that caused a huge fight. My wife cursed out her sister, rightfully, and moved into the room my sister was sharing with her wife to get away from her sister. What the fuck did I just read? Okay, little recap. Honestly, for myself more than anything. So they're at a resort. OP's wife's sister, the slur-slinging slasher over here, started chucking around slurs at OP's sister and OP's sister's wife. And then OP's wife cursed out the slur-slinging slasher's sister and then went to sleep in the room with OP's sister and her wife. I need context. Like, what the fuck? Here's the thing, is like, my bold prediction still could be right here. What if the wife's sister just started doing that to give OP's wife, he really should have used names here. This is too many sisters and wives. To give OP's wife the excuse to go sleep with OP's sister and OP's sister's wife.
So I go up to Pepe's office, and what do I find out, man? What do I find out? There is no Pepe Sylvia.
Y'all, I'm big conspiracy here. But also, like, what prompted the slurs, bro? Give us more information. My wife told my sister more about the situation with the kids. She said she feels like she failed our oldest and he is completely beyond help. She said he is so disrespectful and obnoxious, and she doesn't understand how she let it get to this point. Our son, by the way, made his little siblings breakfast and played Monopoly with them while I was up crazy early, picking my sister and her wife up from the airport. Evil child, clearly. My sister told my wife our oldest is just a teenager and that she is attaching significance to really insignificant things. Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. Like, I think OP's wife is literally trying to make every argument to why this 13-year-old is evil, when like the 13-year-old is just a normal 13-year-old. My sister said teenagers are all annoying, but it isn't the end of the world. My wife said her dad wouldn't put up with that kind of behavior. My sister pointed out that her dad raised her sister, who goes around calling people slurs. My wife said that was her husband's influence, which, whatever. He's beyond help. He's 13. For real. We're talking about a fucking teenager, bro. Also, in my opinion, he hasn't done anything that bad. His biggest crime, according to his parents, is being annoying. Bro, fucking put me in cuffs, dog, because I know for a fucking fact at 13, I was an annoying motherfucker. My wife also said she thinks our daughter is stupid. My sister was shocked to hear that. Our daughter's academic performance at school is average. Most kids are average. That's what average means. She isn't stupid. She's normal. My wife talked about a startup in California an old classmate of hers is going to work for. They do work she really believes in. She said she wanted to move to California to work for them, and also so our youngest will be closer to a particular allergy clinic. My sister tried to tell her that is all crazy, but that didn't work, since my wife is currently on her way to California. Or maybe she already landed. I'm not sure. My sister is angry with my wife and doesn't ever want to talk to her again. They have always been close friends, so that really brought home to me how insane her behavior is. My sister thinks she is lying about having the job too. She thinks my wife is planning to apply in California and that no job offer has been made yet. I wouldn't believe that if not for her previous lie about her current job. Okay, so my bold prediction is once again maybe not on the table. Rats! It's okay, it's whatever, I don't care. It's fine. I'm okay. I'm okay. That would have been crazy if that bold prediction came through though. To protect myself, I opened a new bank account and switched my direct deposit. I also prepaid a lot of things that get paid from the joint account so she can't drain it and leave us in a bad spot. I opened a new account specifically for the mortgage, transferred 6 payments into it, and put that on auto pay. I won't use it for anything else. I bought a bunch of gift cards from the grocery store we use as well, so if she does drain the account, we'll be able to buy food. Damn, this dude is fucking smart. Like, this should be in a how-to if your partner goes fucking crazy and leaves you in a bad position and you may have to divorce them. Bro's got the handbook. I prepaid the daycare and school fees and activity fees for the kids as far as possible. I paid off and closed our joint cards. She still has her personal cards, and I still have mine. This is going to be messy as hell, and I'm not looking forward to it. The worst thing is that the kids are sad their mom isn't coming home. Of course, I didn't tell them what she said about them. Our oldest thinks she went to California to hang out with other cool people because we aren't cool enough for her. I told him that isn't true, but he doesn't believe me. I'm just devastated by all this. The person I'm supposed to be able to rely on abandoned me. Damn, bro. What the fuck is this wife on? I think OP should get their 13-year-old in therapy and probably their 9-year-old too. Also, she didn't take the 4-year-old with her, right? Am I reading that correctly? I know she kept saying that the youngest will be closer to a particular allergy clinic, but I don't think she actually took the kids. So like, I guess that's a fucking positive, man. Yeah, bro, the only tips I got here are get your kids in therapy and get the divorce proceedings started ASAP before she ruins your credit score or something like that. I feel like the wife was cheating and left for an affair partner. I think it's still on the table. Maybe I wasn't cooking with OP's sister being the affair partner. Soft launching family abandonment with come on over if the startup takes off is crazy. I mean, I just don't think you can do that if you have kids. Like, I maybe understand it if you just have a partner. Like, it's like, oh shit, I have an opportunity to go to a startup that I have a lot of faith in, that I could have equity in, and I want to take it off, and we're gonna have distance because of that. Yeah, sure, I kind of understand that. But just completely abandoning your family, a little crazy to me. Like, you got 3 kids, girl. Those should be your startup. Maybe if you were a little bit more focused on showing your kids love and affection than this fuck-ass startup in California, your kids would be more loved and nurtured and maybe a little bit further along in their studies, because that seems to be what you really care about. She's just pissed her kids are average. I think that's a big problem too, Bouncy Ball. I think she, out of the box, wants kids that are fucking geniuses. She doesn't want to actually do the work to, like, help them get there. Like, don't get me wrong, I think you should do your best to, like, make sure your kids are good at math and stuff. But that being said, you need to be prepared for when they're not good at something. And I think that's part of parenting a kid is like, hey, if you're not good at math, maybe we just do the bare minimum so that you pass the classes and we focus on the things you're passionate about. Like, maybe the kid's really good at science. Like, I wasn't a dumb kid by any means. I just didn't care. But I think I found success in something that I care about and yearn to learn about all the time, which is this fucking social media shit. Like, I'm always watching a podcast on business, on social media. I'm always trying to figure out what's like the next platform I need to be on. There's more than one way to be an educated man. I truly believe that. And like, part of being a parent is just guiding your kid to be able to focus on whatever the thing is that they want to become educated on. Last update. I have full custody of the children. Thank God. My wife and I are not getting divorced at this time, but I do have full custody of the children. My wife flew back for court. She fought only for our younger 2 children. The judge asked her why she didn't want our oldest. She said he had behavioral problems. The judge didn't believe her because she had no proof. I was given full physical custody of the children. Legal custody is shared. She returned to California after the hearing. She cannot come back and take the kids. This is a huge relief. Whatever she does or doesn't do in California, I'm not really concerned with at this point. Even though we haven't started the divorce process, we have both decided to open up our relationship since she has no idea if or when she will come back, and I told her I'm not willing to move to California. She assured me her birth control is intact, so if she finds a partner, she can't get pregnant. I believe her. I've started reaching out to friends for suggestions of women my age or older that might be interested. I'm focused on the kids, but if something happens, that would be great. What? the fuck is we doing? All right, now OP's kind of stepped down a ring on my ladder here. He's in the fucking doghouse again. Cause what do you mean? Bro is a little too eager to be in an open relationship. Is that just me? He is sounding manic. No, I agree, my summer love. This man's fucking crazy. I'm so confused, bro. Your wife is pulling fuckery and practically hates your kids. The answer isn't an open relationship. The answer is divorce and full-time focus on your kids, not try to get your dick wet with another woman. Even Beans is reacting. He's like, the fuck is going on? What the fuck? I really miss my wife even after everything. Bro, I'm so fucking ready to get this open relationship started. I really miss my wife. Pick a lane! You guys, this one's been a roller coaster. I am back to hating OP. We tried to make plans to get together before court, but I wasn't comfortable having her at the house, and I couldn't leave the kids alone to visit her. She suggested I have our oldest babysit, but that seemed like too much pressure on him with everything going on. That's when we made the decision to open the relationship. Part of me hopes that after seeing what else is out there, it will make her want to come home. But realistically, I know this is the beginning of the end. Bro, why do you even fucking want her to come home? She literally petitioned for custody of your kids, except for one of them because she's given up on him. What the fuck are we doing? Please tell me the comments are absolutely berating this man. Okay, all right, thank God. I have to read this comment because this is somebody speaking sense and reason. Commenter starts with, are you a complete idiot? No, do not start a new relationship / situationship / friends with benefits or any fuck buddy relationship with anyone. She has already lied to a judge before. She can just as easily do it again with a, he's cheating on me. And no, Your Honor, we did not have an agreement of him getting his needs done with someone else. I thought he loved me. Sob, sob. And then there's the kids. Do you really think they need their remaining parents to run around to get his dick wet right now? Jesus Christ. I know it's tough, but you need to get that divorce rolling so you can go out and meet someone without your abandoning wife getting a chance to spin the narrative to make her look like the victim. For fuck's sake, get some mental help. She is setting you up, manipulating you again. Wake up, this relationship is over. She left you. She left her children. She lied so she wouldn't be seen as a bad mother and didn't have to risk seeing her oldest child again. Why do you still put up with her? She is mentally torturing at least one of your children, and as long as you keep thinking, maybe she'll come back, your children are not safe. Your son cannot feel safe because maybe dad will go back to his abuser. Dude, I didn't even think about the manipulation part of this shit. Holy fuck. For a guy who described himself as really sharp, this motherfucker dumb as hell. Like, that's crazy, bro. What a fucking journey. This man was out of the doghouse, in the doghouse, out of the doghouse, back in the fucking doghouse. Whoever started with the everybody sucks verdict, yep, you were right. I was wrong. This man sucks absolute camel balls, bro. Holy shit. If you one of those thoughts and prayers Republicans, keep these kids in your thoughts and prayers. They fucking need them. That was ungodly painful. I don't think I've ever read a more painful story than that, chat. Y'all will have to keep me updated if there's more updates on this one. There's no way this isn't gonna get thrown in Best of Redditor updates. Like, there's actually no fucking way. This is the craziest shit I've ever read. My fiance is furious at me for telling my family to start eating Christmas breakfast without her. Am I the a-hole? Every year we have a family Christmas breakfast as part of our celebration, and this year it was organized for 11 a.m. My partner was aware what time it was planned for, but was running almost 2 hours late. I told my family to go ahead and eat, as they had spent the morning preparing and cooking everything, and said I would eat with my partner when she arrived. However, now I'm completely in the doghouse for excluding her from breakfast, and that I'm an asshole for inviting her if they weren't even going to wait. My opinion is that it's unfair to punish everyone for one person's poor time management. But I'm curious if I'm the jerk here or the logical one. It's a beggars can't be choosers situation. Like, if you're showing up late to something, you can't expect everybody else to wait for you, the late person inconveniencing everybody else. 2 fucking hours? Fuck right off, bro. I could understand maybe 10 to 20 minutes, but even then I'd be like, I don't know. You should have been there on time. But 2 hours is just ridiculous. Asking anybody to wait 2 hours to eat a meal that's already prepared is fucking ridiculous. Red flag, wee woo, wee woo. you? That's outrageous, man. I couldn't imagine, bro. This would be such an ick for me. I'd be like, you can't be serious, right? You're joking. I'm on punk. 11 a.m. is also pretty late. That's a good point too, Elster Stairs. That ain't even breakfast anymore, bro. That's lunch. You're saying you want to turn an already late breakfast into basically lunch? Absolutely not. Main character syndrome. Actually, though, like nobody is important enough to wait 2 hours to eat for them. Am I the a-hole because I took my mask off when I knew I was sick? My wife and I were traveling and I happened to catch COVID. We had no option but to travel home with me being sick. I wore a mask and distanced myself from people as much as possible. At the airport, I sat in an area where there was no people, but I could see this boomer staring at me. I knew he was itching to say something about my mask. Eventually, he worked up the courage. He walked over to where I was and sat down next to me and started telling me all about how masks were ineffective and I shouldn't be scared of catching a cold at the airport. Immunities, blah, blah, blah. All the regular bullshit that they say. Bro, this is so fucking annoying. Like, I'm so sorry, but if you go up to a stranger to press them about a fucking mask on their face, you're a bitch. I would never do that because I have better things to do. My guy, get a fucking life. Some of y'all are saying cough on him in chat. I agree. Oh, you don't want me to wear this mask? I pulled the mask down, leaned in and looked him in the face, then said, I have COVID and I'm trying not to get everyone else sick. My wife says that I'm the a-hole for pulling the mask down and talking to him so close when I knew I was sick. Oh, wife, what do you mean? I tell my wife about this shit, she better high five me. She's like, you should have fucking done it again. OP ends it with, I say, fuck him, as well as an edit that says, people keep asking what he did. He just kind of looked at me with this smug look and walked away. I'm not sure he even believed me. I mean, that guy probably doesn't even believe in COVID. The brain dead people out here, man. It's just one of those, like, who cares? You really felt emboldened enough to go up to someone to talk shit about them wearing something on their face that keeps them as well as somebody else safer. And you feel like you need to walk around and fucking swing your dick telling them that they're wrong because what? Because your penis is small? Bro, on some stupid Republican shit. And real quick, I'm just gonna say it because people keep saying it on my videos. If you're Republican and you're offended, fuck you. Get off my videos. If you still identify as Republican in the bold year of 2026 with all the stupid shit that the guy that you voted to be our president is doing, fuck right off. Get off my videos. I do not make these videos for you. I do not care about you or entertaining you. I actually would prefer if you didn't watch my videos because you don't deserve the enjoyment. If you believe the same shit that this fuckstick probably believes, get off my videos. I don't care. I will replace you tomorrow. Goodbye. Sweet dream. I don't like bad people watching my videos. Sue me, bro. Cry about it to somebody who cares. Listen, I think this applies more than just a mask and like turning a Republican. Like if somebody's doing something that isn't harming other people, sure, talk shit about them. Like I'll talk shit about Republicans who drive trucks. It's not hurting my life at all, but like I would never go up to one of them and be like, bro, I can't believe you fucking drive a truck. Is your penis small? That's an inside thought. There are inside thoughts that don't go outside. Just chill. Am I the a-hole for walking away from a house I have no equity or say in and stiffing my soon-to-be ex? Before we got married, my in-laws sat me down and explained that I was never going to be on any paperwork for the house they helped my fiance purchase as a wedding gift. They insisted on an ironclad prenup. I got a lawyer and made sure I was protected as well. Sorry to chime in so early, but is it weird to anybody else for this conversation to be done with the in-laws? Like, I'm not necessarily against a prenup. I think there's a very realistic scenario where I would sign a prenup with my wife. Then again, I would want her to want to sign it too. I wouldn't want it to be like one-sided necessarily, but I would not want to have that conversation with my fucking in-laws. Like if my in-laws sat me down and they were like, we need you to sign a prenup with my daughter, I'd be like, fuck off. This is a conversation for me and my future wife to have together, not a conversation that her mommy and daddy are gonna come talk to me about. That's a red flag. Not if they give the money for the house. I still think even if they give the money for the house, that is just like not a conversation that they should be the ones initiating and rolling with. A prenup should be husband and wife, in my opinion. That's who it's between. Those are the only people who should be talking. Now, if OP's fiance comes up and is like, hey, my mom and dad said I need to have this conversation with you, that's how that should go. But like, if mommy and daddy sat me down and was like, we need you to sign a prenup with my daughter, I would probably not go in that relationship. I would be like, okay, so you're not even mature enough to like have this conversation with me? You're gonna get mommy and daddy to do it for you? After we got married, I contributed to the expenses of our household 50-50, mortgage and everything. It was a little more than I paid in rent and utilities, but I figured we were building a future together. I make a decent living as a welder, and I do not own a lot of stuff. I have a truck, a welding lid, a laptop, and some clothes. Before I met my wife, I lived at Airbnbs and all-inclusive resorts. I work 4 weeks on and get 2 weeks off. It didn't make sense to rent a house that could sit empty for a month at a time. I've helped my wife upgrade, renovate, and furnish the house. I'll give a simple example. We bought a very nice sectional. I paid for half up front by giving the money to my wife, and she then bought it on her credit card to get the points. After that, it wasn't my problem anymore. I recently found out that she has been seeing her ex when I'm out of town. I do not play that game. I will never compete for a woman, and I do not forgive cheating. So last time I came home from work, I stayed at an Airbnb. I took the time to see a lawyer and initiate our divorce. When my time off was done, I went back to work. My next break is after the new year, and I will be going to an all-inclusive resort. What the fuck? I'm curious to see where this is going. Like, what is this bitch arguing after cheating on her husband? Let's see. What fuckery is she conjuring? Neither this last time or from now on did I or will I be giving her any money. The problem is that she didn't use the money I gave her to pay down the mortgage or her credit card bill. She blew it on other stuff. So now she is in a bind. My money made her lifestyle possible. By just leaving and not engaging, she is kind of screwed. But there is nothing there for me anymore. We don't even have a dog like I wanted because she would have had to take care for them while I was away. So all I left behind was a suit I only bought for our wedding, some gym clothes, and my dress shoes. Once again, for the wedding. Sounds like you probably shouldn't be married to this woman in the first place. Cheats on you and is an irresponsible adult? This might be a blessing in disguise, my boy. She, her family, and her friends are all over me to help her during our divorce. I have no obligation to do so, though. And after our divorce, even less so. I can literally live out of my suitcase and my backpack. My only living expense beyond housing is long-term parking for my truck. Even my mom seems to think I'm screwing her over and punishing her too harshly. What the fuck? Hell, mom, bro. So let me get this straight. Your son was cheated on and was getting used to fund a lifestyle that the wife couldn't afford by taking his money, saying it was going to be put towards something and was actually not put towards that thing. And you think that OP is being too harsh? Your own mom? I personally can't believe my mom would take her side, but my parents' divorce was really antagonistic, and their inability to communicate led to both of them being much worse off than if they had cooperated and ended things amicably. Am I the a-hole? Bro, absolutely not. Easy not the a-hole. Your mom is ridiculous, and your fiance sounds like a whole ass red flag. It's probably a good thing you got away from her. If you're in this situation, I think it's a red flag to buy a house with your partner and you both don't own it. I think if mommy and daddy pay for the house, that's fine, bro. Like, hey, you came from money. Your parents are able to help you out. Like, that's a privilege as long as you understand that privilege and don't brag about it or whatever. Go for it. If it pushes you ahead in life, hell yeah. It's never been harder to own a house, whatever helps. That being said, if you guys are getting married, mommy and daddy is buying our house, not your house, our house. And I think that's how it should be in a marriage. Like, listen, when I was talking about prenup shit, the only thing that I would maybe necessarily want a prenup is my business, because this is my baby. This is what I worked on. Now, I think if me and my wife were planning on having kids, I would write something in the prenup that would make sure that if she was like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, like that's my thing, which to be honest, I kind of want to be a stay-at-home dad, but whatever, you never know what's going to happen. I would be like, okay, well then we have to give you equity in the business. That to me makes sense. But if it's like, hey, this is my business, my thing, we're deciding not to have kids, you're going to do your career, I'm going to do my career, then I think it's a little bit different. I think it's case by case scenario, but I do believe that there are good prenups that can come out of things. This is not one of them. If you're married to anybody, I don't think there should ever be a separation between who owns the house. Me personally, Resilient Sage literally said equity, baby. I'm gonna be real. OP put himself in a bad situation. He was paying rent to his wife for a house that they should both own equity in, so that when a situation like this happens, they sell the house and split it down the middle. Honestly, as much as OP is able to like completely cut themselves off from this, like if OP had equity in this house, to be honest, I think it would have just screwed over the wife even more. You know what I'm saying? I guess they would also be tied into the mortgage debt, which wouldn't be great. But I mean, at that point too, it's like, all right, if you're paying a mortgage, make sure that money is actually going to the mortgage, you know? Ideally, you shouldn't need a prenup. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think more people could benefit from a prenup, because I think what a prenup allows you to do is it allows you to address the hard conversation of like, what if this doesn't work? Which is, I think, a conversation that everybody should have. Like, I genuinely do. I think everybody thinks of marriage as sunshine and rainbows when the reality is like, isn't it like 50% of marriages end in divorce? Me personally, I think you should be like, hey, if we get a divorce, let's plan it out beforehand so that we know what the standards are. We know what's going to happen. I think that's much healthier than just being like, caution to the wind. I love you. You love me. We don't don't need a prenup. I think you're just setting yourself up for failure. Yeah, it is smart to have that convo before the real emotions are involved. Exactly. And like, that's the thing that I want to have a conversation with my wife is like, hey, as much as I love you and I want you to be a part of my life, a little part of me would be very sad if we got divorced and you took half of my business. Can we come up with a solution that would make you feel comfortable where if we ever got divorced, I would keep my entire business? And who knows, maybe part of that is like, you know, assuming no party did the other wrong. Like maybe she takes more equity in the house. Like I think those conversations are healthy to have because I think if you go into it not having those conversations and then, you know, you get in a messy divorce and the wife is like, well, now I want 50% of your company. I just don't fuck with that. Maybe someone in the comments will give me a good reason why one partner should own the house and the other one shouldn't. But to me, if y'all are a unit, if y'all are in a healthy marriage, it should be no debate that you both own the house. Call me too traditional, man, but I think that's fair. Ooh, bad credit. You know what, Trini girl? You might be cooking with that. Although, wait, I think if you're married, does it automatically default to the person who has the worst credit? How does that work? I actually genuinely don't know how that works. Maybe tax purposes? I guess that's fair. But then shouldn't you put something in the prenup that's like, okay, for tax purposes, this house is owned by this person, but then if we get divorced, like we sell the house and split the ownership or split the price or whatever? What about inherited property? Maybe I'm more talking about the house they specifically live in, but I guess if there's like a vacation home that was inherited, maybe then I'm like, okay, maybe that shouldn't be included. But I think general for the majority of people who get a house and they're living in it, I think it should be like, we're all in this together, you know? My aunt always told me to own all my own stuff in case I need to escape a bad situation. I think with a house, it's a little bit different because it's like equity in an asset. Aspen, with what you're talking about, like, I think it's just like own your own car, own your own things that would help you escape a bad situation. Even if OP had owned the entirety of the house and tried to kick out the wife, just because he owned the entirety of the house doesn't mean that she has to leave the premises. Like if they're still married, I think she has rights to live there. I don't know if I completely agree with that. I think I agree with the premise of like, I think it's bad if someone's paying for your lifestyle because then that's power that they have ownership of you. And I think there are certain things that you should pay for by yourself and like own yourself. But at the same time, I think there's some things that you do have to mix. Yeah, I don't even know how that would work, Trini girl, with somebody buying the house for them. Like you got to assume that the parents don't own the house, right? They gave the money to the fiance. Oh, if you're purchasing property together, they take the average of both your credit scores. That makes more sense, Rosie Posey. Listen, I'm not saying that a bad credit score is a indictment on someone's full character, but what I will say is I think you should push your partner to have a high credit score. And I think it's a little bit of a red flag if they don't have a high credit score. And I'm not saying high, like it has to be extremely high by any means, but like if you have a low credit score, that usually means you're probably mismanaging money somehow. Most Americans don't get it, and that's how they want you. Guys, if you're an American, I really do encourage you to figure out credit scores, investments, and mortgages. I've recommended the book all the time. I Will Teach You How to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Will teach you everything you need to know in one book. There's an audio book if you like listening. He makes YouTube videos if you prefer watching where he explains this stuff. The reason they make it so confusing is because the more confused you are, the more money they make off of you. Turi time. Hello, Mr. Basie. Hello. Yes, you give me leg rub, so thank you. Can I get another leg rub, Mr. Baines? He fucking stole my chair. Fuck the entire stream. You guys get streamer beans. Streamer beans. Oh, whoa. What was that for? He said, nah, bro, I ain't purring for you, slut. That's how I imagine Beans talks. Like, he literally is so mean and so abusive. Okay, we got the treats for you, Mr. Man. Oh, thank you for putting your butt in my face. Wow, what a crazy butthole you got there. Can you put it away? Thank you. Wow. Look what I have for you. They're from chat. They love you so much. They want me to give you treats. Are you gonna seriously make me crawl over there to you? Am I gonna have to crawl in front of my audience to get closer so you can eat these treats? Is that what really is about to happen, my guy? Chad, I think he gets the assignment now. Like, I think he understands because he just crunched that one straight into the mic. That was glorious. Oh, good boy. A good boy. Oh, Oh, okay. Why does he always do this? He gets sassy after he has like 2 more treats left. Like, what a fucking diva. Did you see him just fucking catwalk out like that? Am I the a-hole for outing my aunt's bedwetting after she kept asking about my sex life? I'm 18 female and am paralyzed chest down from an accident 3 years ago. I live with my older brother, and this past week he hosted a big family reunion with multiple other relatives staying in the house. Very little privacy. The last time I saw her, my aunt would not stop asking invasive questions about my body and my sex life. I told her multiple times to stop, and she laughed and said that since my care affects the whole family, in parentheses it does not, it's not really private, which is bullshit. Why is she still getting invited to the family reunions? Because fuck her. Bro, my aunt is saying some crazy shit like that to my sister. Ain't no way she's allowed in my fucking house. Then on Saturday night, she stayed over and wet the bed. I know because she asked my brother about laundry and he found out about it and told me. No one else knew. I, of course, wasn't planning on telling anyone because obviously that's embarrassing for her. And I, above anyone, know what it's like to not have full control of my body. But then, yesterday, the family had lunch with everyone, and she started with her bullshit again and joked that my boyfriend is more of a nurse than a lover. I said that perhaps she needs a nurse so she stops pissing herself at night. God damn, what a clapback. That did not go over well. I know it's a mean thing to say, but I feel like it's justified low key. My brother is fully on my side and had to keep himself from laughing his ass off. The rest of my family is not at all amused. From my perspective, I set a boundary which was ignored, so I matched her energy. First off, not the a-hole. Good fucking clapback, all right? Fuck around and find out. Don't dish what you can't take, you know? That being said, I think the really important thing that like doesn't even affect the verdict at all. It's just more like, hey, OP, I recommend that you communicate this. Does your family know that your stupid ass aunt is asking these types of questions? I think that's my big thing is like, make sure your family knows that like you're getting pissed off because A, she's saying shit like this, and B, she's asking about your sex life like that. And then any other family member that still thinks that what you said is too much can go fuck themselves. Cause ain't no way, bro. I would have laughed right there. As much as the brother was like trying to keep himself from laughing, I do think there's power in numbers when it comes to showing people that what they're doing is deserved. Like because nobody else laughed at that comment or like stood up with OP, this aunt might think that she's more in the right. But if people are like, yeah, you kind of fucking deserve that one, then she's gonna be more like, oh, maybe I'm in the wrong here. Also, like, why are you asking your niece about her sex life at all? Here's the thing, y'all, is I think it really just depends on your relationship. Like, I'm pretty sure I've actually talked about my sex life with some of my aunts, but it's because they're very open about it. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure I told them the story about me shitting my pants while making out with a girl. I guess that wasn't really sexual, but it was a good story and they had a good laugh out of it. It sounds like she's saying these things in front of the family though. That's true, Gab Giggles. It wasn't very clear. I think it could be either or. She didn't really specify the environment that she was bringing all this up. It's definitely like really, really out of touch to ask those things. Like if my aunts wanted to like know my sex life or whatever, like I wouldn't hide it from them, you know, especially because I would encourage them to have a way more open conversation with their kids about sex than my parents did. Me and Kathy have talked about this. Like I've always thought that was one part that she could have done a little bit better as a parent. And Kathy was very receptive to it, by the way. But I also have to say it would be really fucking weird if she was asking me those questions in front of my family. Like in front of my mom. I think it's how Dawn is approaching it. LOL, she's approaching it in an offensive way. Exactly. Like if I had a friend who was in a wheelchair, I kind of would be like, you know, if we were drunk and like hanging out, I'd be like, hey bro, I gotta ask, you know? I think curiosity is always a good thing, especially if it's like, I just want to know, like, how does it work? You getting your nut, my boy? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or my girl, you know, like whatever. But the way that she's doing it doesn't seem like that. It's more of a way to like put OP down. Am I the a-hole for wanting to charge an 11-year-old for theft and destruction of property? So about a week and a half ago, my son's phone was taken from his bag at primary school. I managed to track it using Find My iPhone, and it led me to a house. From that house, I banged on the front door and was answered by a mom. I explained that I tracked my son's phone to this house and from there discovered her son and 2 of his friends had just been there. She calls him and then I follow her in my car to a second kid's house. At this house, all 3 kids are there and I tell him I don't care who stole it, just hand it back and it's done. All 3 kids swear black and blue that they have never seen it and know nothing about it. I exchange numbers with the mom from the first house and the dad from the second house. Then I have to leave knowing full well one of them has it. I get home and receive a call from the mom from the first house. She has checked the security cameras from her house and discovered the kid from the second house, who swore that they had never had a phone, is miraculously holding a phone in the footage. This has already been sent to the dad, and next minute I get a message from the guilty kid's mom asking if she can come to my house. Her and her son arrive teary-eyed and apologetic. I just ask for the phone back and she shakes her head, saying that he smashed and destroyed it. It was only an iPhone XE, so not expensive, but as a single mom working full-time, it was my means of communication with my son. She asks if she can go buy me a new phone now, but I ask if she just contributes $100 and I'll find a similar phone off market, as I prefer an iPhone, as I connect it to mine and can monitor parental controls and other settings. She agrees and is happy to pay that. It has been over a week now, and she has now stopped replying to any messages and won't answer my calls. Last message I sent was me saying if I didn't receive payment, I would report and charge her 11-year-old son. So am I the a-hole if I charge him for theft and destruction of property? No, dude, like what? If the parents aren't going to parent the kid, you give them a reason to parent the kid, which is put charges on them. I mean, that's crazy. Like, be a better parent. Also, as a side note, I have camera footage, admission of guilt in her text messages and agreeing she would pay, as well as her son admitting to the school that he stole it as well. So we have enough evidence to go forward. And there is a tiny paragraph update. Yeah, before we get to the paragraph update, just like be a better fucking parent. Like, I just feel like it's not that hard. And like, to me, it's like, okay, if I don't want charges on my kid, I'm going to tell the parent, hey, here's the money. And then I'm going to go to my kid and be like, not only are you paying that back, you're paying that back double, and you're not allowed to do anything with your friends until you do so. And you're going to apologize to this kid, like all that. But like, clearly she's not a good parent. Crazy shit. It is the duty of a parent to like actually fucking parent your child and like take responsibility for some of the actions of those child. Like, even though they're not your actions, it is your job to make sure that when your child does something wrong, you are doing everything in your power to correct it. And this parent just clearly is not. Okay, we have an update. So after not responding to my messages for over a week, I messaged last night saying I was going to the police in the morning to make a report. And the money was transferred this morning. I read all the comments why I didn't report first, and it's because I guess I waited so long, as I still want to think people would do the decent thing and didn't want to have to go down the police road for a minor amount, as they have more important things to do. I agree with this, to be honest. Like, I think the only time you go to the police is if the parents aren't willing to do what's necessary to make amends. Although I do think OP should go to the school and let them know. It should be on the school's radar that like this kid is known to do shit like this, so that if they get accused of it again, there's evidence of like prior times that's happened. At the end of the day though, I am not going to raise my son to be walked all over and to stick to your word, but all sorted now. I mean, shit, no wonder that kid's such a bad kid. Like, sounds like the parents are bad too, you know? Crazy, man. Big fan of when you make a mistake, take accountability for it and see what you can do to make up for it. Apple not falling far from the tree, no, for real. Am I the a-hole for canceling a third date over a peanut allergy? A friend of mine set me up on a date with a coworker of hers. She said we were perfect for each other. Our first date was at a coffee shop, and then we arranged to meet up at a botanical garden the next week. While we were at the botanical garden, she told me about her peanut allergy, which she described as life-threatening. I told her that must be stressful, and she said it was. We arranged for a lunch date this week at the end of the date. After that date, I started thinking, I love peanuts and eat them all the time. I put peanut butter in/on a lot of stuff, including my dog's toys, which he drags all over my apartment, getting invisible peanut oil everywhere. I can't see a potential relationship with this woman ever progressing to a serious stage without me changing my diet and habits. I mean, most importantly, changing your dog's diet and habits. You can't take away the peanut butter from our boy or girl. I guess your dog could be a girl. At this point, we've only been on 2 dates, and I think it would be more respectful of her time to not go on a third. So I called her and told her I was sorry, but we need to cancel. She asked if I wanted to reschedule, and I apologized, but said I didn't think we would work out long term. She asked why, and I was honest. I said I really like peanuts and would be nervous about potentially harming her. She said there were a lot of safety precautions we could take to keep her safe, and I admitted I know that, but I don't want to do them. She said, wow, and told me I'm immature. I apologized again, but she hung up. She told my friend what happened, and my friend is confused by my reasoning. Okay, so your friend's either a shit friend or they're dumb. She said her coworker said I'm a massive douche. I don't feel like I am. We only went on 2 dates. 2 dates doesn't imply any commitment. I asked her if she agrees I'm a douche. She said she's not sure, but that my logic is definitely weird. Do you guys agree? Bro, what? I mean, I think it's mature to come to a conclusion that you're not compatible and not lead the person on. It's mature to be like, hey, here's an issue I see with this relationship, therefore I don't want to continue. Like what, bro? Would you rather him continue it and in the back of his head know, hey, this isn't gonna work because I don't want to give up peanuts? Also, too, he's just concerned for her safety. It's kind of crazy to me that she mentioned this on the second day, because like, what if he ate peanuts peanuts or had peanuts before he went on the date and like got that peanut oil on her? Or what if they smooched and a little bit of the peanut oil still left over in his mouth got into her mouth? The man just loves nuts, damn it. No, for real. Like, let our boy get his nut. His peanut. Yeah, absolutely not. Not the a-hole. That's crazy of the friend. I don't think that reasoning is weird. To be honest, you guys, I don't even eat peanut butter that much, and I don't know if I'd want to put up with that. Like, it's not like I'm buying peanut butter all the time. There was this gal who was in my, like, carpool group as a kid, and she had the same thing. Like, she couldn't even smell peanuts, or she'd have an insane allergic reaction. And I remember being a kid and being like, wow, this is massively inconvenient. Like, what if I want to enjoy some nut, bro? Too bad that girl doesn't know what a good nut was. Something, I'll show her what a good nut is. Ah, I'm sorry, that's terrible. I shouldn't say that. Am I the a-hole for quitting a date on the spot? I'm 32 and it was my first date with a 27-year-old woman. It was dinner at a patio-style restaurant and it was going well. I didn't like that she put her phone on the table as soon as we arrived, but she wasn't checking on it whatsoever. Issue was drinks and appetizers arrived and I moved her phone to give the waitress some space. The recording app was running and I reacted in shock. Why the fuck are you recording this? Then stood up, paid, and went home. She's now calling me an a-hole and abusive over social media. Her main point is that I left her there when we had previously talked about me giving her a ride back home after the date. And also rude as hell for raising my voice and using swear words, which, okay, I did, but it was a shocking experience and I really think it was a natural reaction. Am I the a-hole? Edit 1, to everyone asking, this happened in the greater LA area. I know California is a two-party consent state, but as a brown Latino immigrant, I'd rather not have the police involved, especially not these days. Oh yeah, so she was breaking the law there too. Bro, listen, I understand and I'm very empathetic to like women are more vulnerable on a first date than men are. That being said, I also wouldn't love it if I learned that I was being recorded on our first date. Like, I understand safety, don't get me wrong, and I want someone to feel as safe as possible. That being said, I feel like being in a public space is like the safety part to it. For me, like if they had been alone, I still don't know if I'd be okay with it, but at least I'd understand it a little bit more. But like, you're in a public restaurant. I really don't think recording is appropriate in that scenario. Hi, buddy. Listen, if you want to record a first date, I think you should just tell the person. Like, hey, this would make me feel more comfortable if I recorded it. Can I record it? I think if someone told me, I would be more okay with it. You know, I'd still be like, okay, whatever. But like, you know, as a man, I get the privilege of not feeling unsafe on first dates, you know? I feel like all of you guys are saying not the a-hole too, huh? No way that's technically legal. In some states, kid, it actually is technically legal. Was she live streaming the date? Oh, dude, I sure fucking hope not. Not to like completely go off topic, but I think this is my problem with the new meta glasses, by the way. People are walking around recording people with their meta glasses and not letting them know that they're recording. Like, to me, that shit is so unethical. Like, people make content out of that where they walk up to people with the meta glasses on and they don't tell them that they're recording or anything. It's so brain dead, man. I completely agree. He kind of went from 0 to 100, but she should not have been recording him. Honestly, you guys, like, I think if you catch anybody recording you without your consent, especially like during kind of a vulnerable time, like when I'm on a date with somebody, I don't want people really recording that unless I know ahead of time, because like that's a very vulnerable moment. You opening up to a stranger, who knows what she was gonna do with that video? Like, yeah, she might have been recording for safety. She also might have been recording for content. Like, maybe that's her fucking shtick. As much as like I understand people saying he went from 0 to 100, I don't necessarily think that that was wrong. I kind of want to see what other people are saying just really quick. Not the a-hole. You aren't her content. Recording your date is a sign that she doesn't fully understand consent. And if she was worried about her safety in a public space, why would she get in a car alone with you? That's actually such a fucking good point. I didn't even put that together. Someone said not the a-hole. There's simply no good reason she could give why she recorded you. And then OP replied saying she said it was for safety. Yeah, bro. Not the a-hole, not the a-hole, not the a-hole. I think out of anything, people are just hung up on his reaction, but like low key, bro, I also would not fuck with this. I just wouldn't. Like, girl, if you feel unsafe, let's go on a group date. Bring your close friend and her boyfriend. I would much rather do that than be recorded. Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard. Like, I feel like there's other things you could do for first dates to make yourself feel more safe than record somebody without their consent. Especially with what OP was saying about them being an immigrant. Like, who fucking knows if this is like ICE or some shit? And she was trying to get documentation that he was an immigrant or whatever. Crazy shit, bro. This country's fucking sucks right now. Am I the a-hole for hiding the fact that my youngest son is biologically ours? So me, 48, my wife, 46, both come from a culture where arranged marriages are common, and that's how we get together. We are arranged into our marriage when we were 18 and 20. I can go into more details about it if asked, but it's not super relevant to the post. We both wanted kids. However, my wife has a medical condition that made it very hard for her to get pregnant, and because of the arranged nature of our marriage, we didn't exactly feel too keen on repeatedly trying. That's crazy to me, man. They're not even keen on having sex and they're married? Wow. So when we were financially stable and old enough, we adopted our first son when he was 3, now 26, and our daughter, now 22, a year later when she was a newborn. About 3 years later, my wife unexpectedly got pregnant after we drunkenly hooked up with each other, and that resulted in our youngest son, now 19. When my wife got pregnant with her youngest son, we purposely hid this from our families. They had for years pressured us to try fertility treatments to have a child that would truly belong to us. Wait, that's crazy. Hiding a pregnancy from your entire ass family? Honestly, I feel like I have to applaud. That's crazy. Chat, I'm trying to think, like, if I had a partner and my partner got pregnant, that would be next to impossible to hide from my family. What? Drunkenly hooking up with your spouse is so crazy. I know, spooky Miss Luna, but we can't cross that bridge. I've expressed my feelings about arranged marriage. That being said, I feel like I have to be respectful of it because it's not my culture. So I can't rag on it. Just say that I'm not really fucking with a lot of what OP is saying in this story. I assumed that they were hiding it from the wife, and I was like, how the fuck is that possible? But I'm picking up what OP's putting down. They had for years pressured us to try fertility treatments to have a child that would truly belong to us. And we knew if they found out our youngest was biologically ours, they'd never treat our children the same. We hid her pregnancy and told our families we adopted another baby. Only a few friends and select members knew about the pregnancy. All of my children also know about this. My father, 69, was talking with me and my cousin, 47 male, who knows about the pregnancy, about how he was always disappointed that I never gave him a proper grandchild, and he was still holding out hope until last year when my wife turned 45. This is the hard part of what I just said about, like, obviously I know that arranged marriage is really popular in like Indian cultures and probably other cultures, but like, I feel like it comes with bullshit like this. This is a fucking evil thing to say. You do have grandchildren, you fuckstick. An adopted grandchild should be treated exactly like any other grandchild. This is fucking evil. You should have cut your father off. Like, this is a horrible fucking thing to say. I told him he has 3 grandchildren through me, and he just grumbled about how it wasn't the same. My cousin in private says that he thinks it's a bit of an asshole move to still hide it from him because he's getting older, and it's not like he can treat the kids much differently from one another now that they're all grown. I don't think I'm an a-hole, but I'm curious what Reddit thinks. Okay, wait, so he hasn't even actually told them. Edit Tad, me and my wife are not Indian, so please stop with all the racist messages and comments about Indian culture. Chat, you think these are Mormons? Oh, they do this in parts of Africa too. And it's not like he can treat the kids much differently from one another now that... Okay, you know what? Usually I'm pro not lying, but honestly, I think OP cooked here. If you lied to enhance the treatment of all your children from other members of your family by lying to them, I can't say that I necessarily disagree with that. I would do the exact fucking thing. Someone's gonna have to convene with their book of fairy tales to figure out if I'm in the wrong for saying that, but me personally, I think OP cooked. And honestly, let this father fucking die without ever knowing. That's how I feel, man. You want to have that mindset? Fine. You don't deserve the truth, bitch ass father. Like, nuh-uh. I don't think Mormons would perform abstinence within the marriage. I don't think they were like abstinent for like any religious reasons. I think they were genuinely like, we don't enjoy fucking each other, which to me is crazy. I'm sorry. Me and my wife, I will always do my best to make sure that our marriage is in a good point where we always want to be doing the hanky-panky. I don't want to get married to somebody who I ain't gonna be doing hanky-panky with. That's just so sad. I think this is like a therapist needs to look this one over, because he basically said like, we don't have sex because we're not attracted to each other, and then also was like, we got drunk and had sex and created a baby from that one time. Like, oh my God. I don't think I'm qualified to comment on that. They said drunken hookup during the marriage. I don't think Mormons usually drink. That's a good point too, Oliver. If God didn't want me to enjoy sex, why did he make me enjoy sex? That's what I'm saying, man. Let me get my nut. Am I the a-hole for telling a friend's boyfriend that he can't have a traditional wife because he's not a traditional man? I, 25 female, was hanging with some of my friends and their significant others last week. To make a long story short, my friend's boyfriend kept talking about how women no longer want to be traditional wives, and that's why many of them are single. I responded that in 2025, women don't feel like they need a man in order to provide the lives that they want for themselves. He kept going on about what women used to do and how they were all about taking care of their husbands and household without complaining. I let it go on for a while, but I got tired of hearing his rant and told him that he can't have a traditional wife when my friend goes 50-50 on all the bills with him and works more hours than he does. I continued with, he isn't a traditional husband and can't provide for his household like he's supposed to. so that my friend can stay home and do those traditional duties. I may have become the asshole when I told him that it sounds like he wants another mommy and not a wife. I'm so convinced that every man with this mindset has an Oedipus complex. They all want to fuck their moms. They want someone who will treat them like their mommy treats them. Oh, I want a traditional wife. Bro, just say you want to fuck your mom. It became silent and he told me that my way of thinking proved his point. The conversation pivoted elsewhere and I thought that was that. But I got a message from my friend saying that her boyfriend was upset at me for what I said and I embarrassed him. Yeah, because he's a baby back bitch. He wants me to apologize, but I don't think that I should have to, being that I was just responding to his rant about traditional women. My friend said she doesn't think I'm wrong, but doesn't think I'm right either. Shit, she has to be a little bit of a fuckstick to be dating this guy, so that sentence made absolutely no fucking sense, but what do we expect out of her? And I should have just let him talk because he had a few drinks. Yeah, just let my boyfriend say heinous shit because he had a couple of drinks. You know how it is when your man has a couple of drinks and starts going on a misogynistic rant. You just gotta let him do it because he's had a few drinks. Oopsies. Nothing you can do about that. Girl, get rid of this friend. Like, what the fuck? This would be the most insufferable ass shit in the world. Call me a bad fucking person, but I could not be friends with someone like this. I would be like, you think your value in life is to date this shit ass man? I'm sorry, but I have self-respect and I want other people around me who have self-respect. If you date him, you must hate yourself. Get out of here. Nah, bro, OP's not the a-hole. Put that bitch boy in his place and honestly drop these friends. You don't need this type of negativity in your life. You don't need friends who are gonna bring around their misogynistic boyfriend who just wants to talk about traditional women when he's a traditional loser. Be so fucking for real, man. If you're gonna spew that hateful ass shit, you better be making 6 figures and already own a house. If you ain't there yet, shut the fuck up. Too broke to be a bigot. That's what I'm saying. You can't walk around talking about tradition when you can't even afford that tradition. You gotta be a traditional man. I can't afford that traditional life, but by God, when I can, I'm gonna be misogynistic as hell to my wife. Like, fuck off, bro. This reminds me of the story where this woman called her husband too broke to be sexist. No, for real. I genuinely think that's a thing, man. Like, I've had the most broke boys fucking talk the most stupid shit about tradition or like the red pill type shit. I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, if you make less money than me and you want to talk about all that traditional shit, you better shut the fuck up and make more money than me before you talk on that bullshit, bro. With that salary, you better put on the maid fit. Trad man wants trad wife while making 38K a year. Sit the fuck down, bro. No, for real. Like, I'm sorry, my guy. You can't be doing that shit. The friend is giving the vibe that she shares the opinion on the down low, and let her be miserable about that. I think that's the most loser mindset ever. You're allowed to believe what you believe, but I'm allowed to sit there and be like, that's pretty fucking stupid. You believe that? Update from OP, same post. I called my friend to try and understand why her boyfriend was embarrassed and why she was trying to be Switzerland in the situation. She explained that I'm her friend, and although she doesn't disagree with what I said, she feels like she needs to have her man's back as well. I told her that she doesn't have my back by asking me to apologize to him and not standing up for me, or at the very least telling him that what he was saying was idiotic. We talked for about an hour and I actually feel like it didn't get anywhere. I told her that I would not apologize and that he can't come around me anymore, and she was very upset with that statement. I feel like I lost a close friend and that hurts a lot, but I will not be disrespected. Sorry, this isn't some juicy stuff, but I wanted to update everyone on how the situation ended. I mean, girl, you're probably gonna look back at this moment and be like, wow, that was the best thing to ever fucking happen to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand how it's hard to lose a close friend, but to lose a close friend who's bringing around shitty people in your life and pushing their shitty ideals on you, not worth it. I've been there, not this exact situation, but I've had close friends that I've had to not talk to anymore because they're awful people. And now I look back at it and I'm like, thank fucking God he did that. Thank fucking God little idiot 23-year-old Sarby was like, oh, I'm done with this. Do you really want a friend that's like, I don't disagree with what you said, but I still need to back up my man who I seemingly disagree with and have known for less time than you? Like, what are you fucking talking about? So if this man starts spewing some heinous shit that you don't agree with, you're just gonna blindly support him because he's your boyfriend? Miss me with that stupid shit. I just think, y'all, people are too scared of being lonely. I feel like that's the one thing everybody should learn is how to be comfortable with being alone so that you don't put up with bullshit like this because you're afraid of being alone. At no point should you feel like you have to stand up for your partner because the other side of that is that you're just gonna be alone. Conservative men want left-leaning women like a person wants an exotic bird to clip their wings. For real. Oh. Hello, Mr. Beans. Oh, he come. Beans, they're all saying hi to you. He just hanging. You can see his little feet, bro. Look at this shit. Look at the little feet. Oh, look at the little booties. The little white booties. Yes. That's a handsome man. Just doing sweet guy things. Damn, not y'all talking about his feet pics? What's wrong with y'all? Beans, you hear them? Oh no, he sees the ghost. Are we being haunted, Mr. Baines? Do you see this, y'all? Like, look at him. He's like peeking in the bathroom like there's a fucking ghost in there. What does he have his eyes on right now? There's a ghost that haunts the stream bathroom. Oh, big yawn. Yay, the biggest yawn from the big boy. Am I the a-hole for being enraged that my husband is currently infertile? My 30 female husband, 36 male, has body built for 15 plus years and has an unreal physique. We got together at 21 and 27. Being young, I was naive and believed him when he said he was natural. I only asked because my male acquaintances regularly asked me. Over the years, this morphed into, I'm natural now, but I used to take tea years ago. I distinctly remember telling him I'm massively against drugs, and if he ever went back on it and it affected us having a baby, then I would never forgive him. Cut forward to last December, I was cleaning our apartment and found testosterone. He's somewhat of a hoarder, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't an old one that had been accidentally moved in. So I hid it in my sock drawer. Within 48 hours, he confronted me, angry that I took it. Clearly, he'd been taking it. I gave him an ultimatum, me or the testosterone. We were set to get married in the summer. He promised he wouldn't take it again. He promised my parents too. I'm not gonna say it's your fault, but also, come on. Like, I see a couple people in chat not calling it a drug. Whether you want to consider it a drug or not, they get addicted to it. If you don't take testosterone, it makes you feel like shit. And especially when you're addicted to the effects that testosterone has on your muscle growth, you're not gonna stop that cold turkey. It's just not gonna happen, bro. So things settled down, we married, and we have been uber keen on having kids ASAP. Him slightly more so than me even. So we've been trying. It's been a while with no pregnancy, so we took some fertility tests. We just had results today. Mine came back good. His showed up as no sperm whatsoever. The doctor asked him if he takes testosterone, and my husband replied 12 months ago. The doctor said he'd expect sperm to recover in 3 to 4 months, which means we need to take a load more tests to figure out why there's no sperm. My first reaction was to comfort, obviously, but when he heard 3 to 4 months, my husband seemed less deflated than he had been when he first heard the results. Come on. Okay, we know where this is going. So after we said goodbye to the doctor, I asked my husband, was 12 months really the last time you took testosterone? After some back and forth, he admitted he last took it 2 weeks ago. I am fuming. He lied to me. He's been wasting my time. He risked our future child's health. He risked his own health. He risked our future. But he's mad at me for not being supportive, and he thinks I'm being completely unreasonable in my reaction. He thinks I should be focused on resolving the issue rather than the why. Hey, just ignore the fact that I fucking lied to you, made you a promise to get off of something that I was addicted to, and I just didn't. Why pay attention to that? You should just be focused on resolving it, which has nothing to do with you and is completely outside of your control. Like, come on, dude. He said that I married him knowing his history, so I should be okay with it. He's making me doubt myself. So people have read it, am I the a-hole? God, girl, like the fact that you even had to write this tells me that this man must be just gaslighting and manipulating you constantly. How could you doubt yourself in this situation? Get out now. He lied to you. You're not overreacting. You asked something very simply out of him. Even further, you asked him something that he lied about your entire relationship. People love whenever I want to hold the OP accountable for anything. Y'all want to say I'm victim blaming? I'm sorry, but I agree with Soap here. Asshole no, idiot yes. I bring this kind of stuff up because like I want this to connect with somebody who is maybe in a similar situation as OP, but like maybe hopefully earlier, where like they are seeing shit like this in their partner, and I want to encourage you to please not fucking marry them. If you get with somebody and they promise they're not taking testosterone or any other drug, and then you figure out that they actually are, that is not someone you want to be with. If they can lie to you about fundamentally who they are as a human being, they're gonna do that to you for the rest of your relationship. That is not a relationship that I think anybody can have a healthy, structured, foundationally solid relationship with them. And so like, call me an asshole for putting a little bit on OP's shoulders, but like, girl, he was showing you his cards before, but now he's laid them on the table and taken a shit right next to them. I think it's time to fold and get the fuck out. Better late than never for sure. And I say these things, guys, as like, and it's happened before. I've seen some DMs where people are like, you helped me realize that the situation I was in was a bad one. And that's just what I'm going for, bro. I really want want people to come to these stories and for me to point out things like, hey, this is not right. And like, there were signs before. And if you relate to those signs at all, this is a wake-up call for you. Weightlifting should not be that serious. People like will fuck up their lives for like the most mediocre bodybuilding physique in the world. And I'm just like, man, like just work out casually and enjoy your life. Like some people are actually nerfing their lifespans with that shit. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife's friend I don't have to see her in the classroom to know she's a horrible teacher? My wife's friend was supposed to come watch fireworks with us tonight, but she just texted my wife that she isn't coming because I'm a nasty person who encourages my kid to be rude and disrespectful. My wife and I just had a small argument about the situation that ended with her pulling a big Lebowski on me and saying I don't have to be wrong to be an a-hole. I mean, I guess that's true, but like, what? That's true, but I think her friend is the a-hole, not me. I'll tell you what happened and you decide for us. My wife's friend was at our house for dinner. She's a teacher and she complains about it a lot. She says the parents are impossible to deal with, the administration is not supportive, everyone has an opinion on curriculum, and the kids don't listen. I include these complaints as context for the discussion. She told my wife she was working on her lesson plan for February and Black History Month, and that she was making a fact sheet about Martin Luther King Jr. for her kids. Our son, who is a huge Star Trek fan, said that she could include the fact that Martin Luther King Jr. was a Star Trek fan. My wife's friend, with a very patronizing tone and expression I might add, said that maybe he would have been if he'd still been alive when it aired. My son said that he was, and that he used to watch it with his daughters. My wife's friend said that he died before the show aired. I told her she was wrong and my son was right. She said I was a perfect example of a parent that can't acknowledge when her child was wrong. I said, no, you're a perfect example of a teacher that assumes she knows everything and can't connect with her students because she doesn't respect them. My wife forced us to change the topic. After dessert, I pulled up a video on YouTube where I love that OP is still pursuing this, honestly. After dessert, I pulled up a video on YouTube where Nichelle Nichols was discussing talking to MLK Jr. about Star Trek. I showed it to everyone. My wife's friend asked why I couldn't let the topic lie. I said I didn't want my son to feel like he was wrong for sharing facts he knows about and he's interested in. My wife's friend said I don't know what it's like to be a teacher. I said I don't, but I know she's a bad one. She said I'd never seen her in the classroom. I said I don't need to because I see how she is in her daily life and people are who they are regardless of where they are. So my wife's argument is I'm an a-hole for bringing the topic back up. After it was settled, she said I could have played the video for our son after her friend left and taught him about giving others grace and not needing external validation. I disagree and think it is important our kid knows we will always stand up for him. So am I the a-hole? But I don't think he was seeking external validation though. And like, I understand giving others grace, but I think standing up for himself is a more important lesson to teach than giving others grace. I also don't think you should give someone grace who isn't being kind to you. Call me a bad person, but I just think if somebody's being an asshole to you, the worst thing you can do is let them walk all over you and be an asshole. Because that's not grace. You're just teaching them that you'll put up with whatever bullshit that they throw your way. Guys, I'm just trying to like reprocess this story because I'm not gonna lie, a little part of me is like, I can't believe they had a fucking fallout over whether or not MLK Jr. liked Star Trek or not. A little part of me is like, okay, is there an argument that OP shouldn't have pushed as hard as they did and also made the jump to you're a bad teacher? Like, I think OP could have made their point about the kid being right without accusing the wife's friend of being a bad teacher. Because like, don't get me wrong, I do think she's probably a bad teacher, but I think it also could be a little bit of a stretch. Like, I'm not trying to say that she didn't need to get fucking put in her place, but I'm almost wondering if OP didn't put her in the right place. If his goal was to teach somebody to stand up for themselves, he could have just left it at, you were wrong. Although I guess he did point that out. I said I didn't want my son to feel like he was wrong for sharing facts he knows about his interests. My wife's friend said, I don't know what it's like to be a teacher. I said, I don't, but I know she's a bad one. I still don't want to call OP the a-hole. I think their intentions were right. I just want to point out that conflict could have been somewhat avoided. I think what would be most ideal is OP backs up his child, leaves it how it is, not bringing in the fact that she's probably a bad teacher, but then having the conversation with the wife later on, like, hey, I don't want this person around my kid. I almost think accusing her of being a bad teacher, while is probably true, that's probably not something you want to teach your kid to do. Like, yeah, stand up for yourself. Make sure that when somebody is being an asshole to you and is telling you you're wrong, you prove them right and stand on business. kindness, but I think it was just like a little bit down the slope to be like, well, you're a fucking bad teacher. How easy would it have been for the teacher to just fact check instead of doubling down on the kid? Bro, send that shit to every Republican ever and they'll tell you how fucking hard it is, because apparently it's really hard. Final verdict, I'm going with not the a-hole. Could he maybe have gone about this a little bit differently? Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, OP's premise of backing the kid is always going to be the right answer. I think if you're a parent, you should always be backing your kid. Going after somebody's character maybe could have been avoided, but I don't necessarily think you're wrong. If she says you don't know what it's like being a teacher, a better response would be, no, I don't, but I know when I make a mistake, I want to know about it and come back with the correct info. That's such a good point, Resilient Sage. I think there was just a better leap to like tell her what she was doing was wrong, because if there's anything I've learned in my 28 years on this planet, as much as I do this, and I'm probably not the best example of this, going and attacking somebody's identity with something that they tie to who they are, aka like your job being a teacher, if you tell them they're bad at that, anything you say after that is not going to be met constructively. Like, she probably is a bad teacher, but that's not going to move the needle, versus with what Resilient Sage said here. I think this is actually pretty constructive. No, I don't, but I know when I make a mistake, I want to know about it and come back with the correct info. Like, that's also kind of a learning lesson for OP's kid, which is kind of the goal here. So yeah, not the a-hole, but you could have just like done this a little bit more skillfully, but also like you can't expect somebody who's defending their kid and is upset and also has a fucking shit ass partner who isn't also defending their kid and actively bringing around somebody who's going to be disrespectful and rude to your own fucking kid. We didn't even touch on that. I can't expect that person to handle the situation picture perfect. It feels like OP immediately went into fight mode for their kid and wasn't thinking. Yeah, and I can't blame them for that. I don't think that's the wrong response. She put her friend's feelings over her child. Yeah, I think if there's anything to do about this, I don't think OP should apologize to the teacher. I think maybe they should have a conversation with the wife that says, hey, maybe I could have not gone to the bad teacher thing, but also this is just a bad person to bring around in our life, and I don't like that you're not defending our kid over this woman. So please, let's figure out a way to move forward from this and maybe not see this friend as much. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband that I am going back on our agreement and I don't care if he cries about it? My husband and I, both 32, have been together since we were 19. Our entire relationship feels like it just blew up in my face, basically, and I can't tell if I am overreacting. So we both wanted one child, and we have planned this for years. We wanted everything perfect first. The home, the careers, the savings, the investments, the nest egg, etc., because we knew from very early on that once we had a baby, I would be staying home full time and raising our child. His brother's life was unfortunately cut short by a daycare worker when he was just 5 months old back in 2017. So daycare wasn't an option basically, and we need to make sure our ducks were in a row so I could stay home and be a full-time parent. Damn, holy shit. Yeah, bro, honestly, the more I hear about daycares, the more I'm like, that shit's so sketchy. One of my friends had a very unfortunate situation with, not this dangerous, but still dangerous situation with a daycare. Be careful of them shits, man. They are not that great. 2 years ago, we were sitting on $500,000 in investments, a few nest eggs, and different types of savings and bonds accounts. We bought the house. We even bought a damn boat. Everything we planned for fell into place, finally, and we started trying for a baby. We now have a perfect 4-week-old daughter. I've been out of work since I was 5 months pregnant due to placenta abruption, but otherwise everything went fine. She's perfectly healthy, was a good weight, and I bounced back from the delivery fairly quickly because of how much of a support system my husband was. He did more than his fair share while still working full time, which is partially why I cannot tell if I'm being dramatic or if this is hormones or PPD or whatever. Like, I'm legitimately livid. So basically, earlier this afternoon, I get a phone call from DHHS to go over our health insurance options and whether or not the baby is eligible for state insurance based off of our income. I had already given DHHS all of our info, social security numbers, date of birth, etc., when they called yesterday and was just waiting for all of our info and assets to be pulled. What's DHHS? Department of Health and Human Services. Thank you. Anyway, she calls and says we aren't eligible because my husband makes too much money and that we will need to add her to our private insurance. Absolutely no problem at all. I kind of figured that anyways. But then she offhandedly mentions that my husband is making $10,920 monthly gross, and that the cutoff for state insurance is $7,830 monthly gross. Well, here's the issue. For months, my husband has been telling me that he only makes $6,000 a month after taxes. So I get off the phone and I log into my husband's computer and into his banking, and sure enough, his monthly take home is bordering around $8,500. He is transferring everything over $6,000 into an account I didn't even know existed. So I call him out on it, and he breaks down and tells me that he just wanted something that was only his. Please keep in mind that all of my money has always gone into our joint account that he uses on a daily basis. So he is hiding money from me so that he can have his own money while plugging away at mine. Over $45,000 he has sitting in that account, while telling me last week that we couldn't have steak for dinner because spending $38 on 2 steaks was a waste of money. Just to be clear, I am all for you guys having a little bit of money for yourselves. If you're in a relationship with somebody, don't get me wrong, I think a majority should go in joint, but I think there is value to having separate bank accounts that you can build to however makes you feel comfortable or safe, and that you can spend on things that like maybe you want to save up for personally. Like, I'm a huge supporter of that, but you shouldn't hide A, how much is in there, B, what you're spending it on, and C, how much you're making. It should be very clear, like, I make this much every month, that goes into our joint, and then maybe I pull off a little every single month if I can into a private account. I am all for that. Like, if a relationship ever gets toxic, I am all for somebody having their own money that they've saved to help them support getting out of that relationship. But the fact that he was hiding it is fucking sketchy. What was he planning on spending that $45,000 fucking dollars on? Nothing good. That's gonna be his mistress money. So I told him I'm putting the baby in daycare and going back to work because obviously I need to safeguard myself if he is hiding away money. Something feels off about it. I don't know. He instantly started crying. See above daycare trauma. But I truly just don't trust him financially anymore. I no longer feel secure here. I said I changed my mind and I don't care if he cries about it. Am I the a-hole? So he's crying because you have to do something for your own safety that were the direct consequences of his actions, and he's crying like a fucking bitch about it. Like, come on, bro. That's just some baby back bitch shit. Like, yeah, dude, you lied to your wife about how much money you make and you put it in a bank account that she didn't know about. Like, of course you're not gonna be trusted anymore. That's insane shit. I mean, I'm very heavily debating whether or not OP should stay with him. Is there an update on this? No update. I mean, shit, I hope somebody is telling her, like, you don't want to stay with this guy. I mean, marriage counseling, bare minimum. But I'm so sorry. When somebody hides $45,000 fucking dollars from you, I guarantee they weren't going to spend it on anything that you would approve of. I don't know, man. Call me a bad person. Say I have a fucking hair trigger when it comes to divorces, but like, that is a severe breach in trust. If you want money for yourself because that makes you feel secure, you communicate that to your partner and you figure out how to make that happen for the both of you. It can't be a one-sided thing that you're hiding from your fucking partner. I'm stuck on bro saying no stakes with 45K hidden in the back. Yeah, that is crazy, man. Like I said, you guys, I think OP's husband was saving up for a mistress. That was his mistress fund, my guy. Like, ain't no way. It's so weird he talks about being secure when she is the one without a job. Exactly. That's why I don't trust it. What do you mean secure? You just had a fucking kid with this woman. Like, y'all just made the biggest commitment to staying together that you possibly could have. And also, guys, I mean, let's fucking do the math, right? This isn't like, oh, I just thought of this. This is something he's been building for a long time. Hold on. I actually want to do this fucking math real quick. So OP thinks that he makes $6,000. His take home is around $8,500. So he's getting $2,500 a month. So what? He's been building this shit for 10 months? Pretty much since the baby was born? Wait, so your fucking wife got pregnant and then you started saving up? What? OP is a victim of her own creation. Yes, her husband is an a-hole for lying to her, but they should have had this conversation when they first started this financial journey together. Trini girl, I don't know if you were listening to the same story that I was reading, but they very much had a conversation around their finances. Did you miss the whole fucking part where it was 2 years ago we were sitting on $500,000 in investments, a few nest eggs, and different types of savings and bonds account? We bought the house. We even bought a damn boat. Do you really think with people who have $500,000 in investments, a few nest eggs, with savings and bonds accounts, a shared mortgage, and a boat together, that they didn't have conversations around their finances? Like, I'm sorry, Trini girl, you gotta pull back and reevaluate because that is pretty fucking ridiculous. They definitely had a conversation around finances, and not once did OP's husband ever bring up that he needed a secret money account that he could keep from his wife. That is next level jump into conclusions, bro. 45K with 2.5K a month is 18 months. Sorry, guys, I haven't done math in a fucking hot minute. I should have brought out the calculator. That would have been wild if it was while they were trying to get pregnant with the kid. If someone is willing to hide that for that long, what else is he hidden? That's such a good point. I'm telling you guys, like, we should keep an eye out for an update. I think bro had a mistress. For fucking sure. Am I the a-hole for making my daughter's boyfriend buy a new t-shirt? We have a bunch of updates on this one, but the original post seems to be pretty short. Okay, can you please settle a mild dispute for my family? The 23rd of December, my daughter's 19, boyfriend 19 came over for dinner. We had dinner then because he was going away with his family for Christmas. He arrived, rang the doorbell, and I answered the door. He came in, took off his jacket, and that's when I saw it. He was wearing a t-shirt that said, "It's not gonna suck itself." Why? In what fucking universe do you have to be so stupid to wear a shirt at the age of 19 to your girlfriend's house for a family dinner around the holidays just to add the fucking cherry on top? Wait, is this Meet the Parents? No. It doesn't sound like this is the first time they're meeting, but holy fuck, that would be crazy. OP is way more respectful than me because I would have been like, you're not allowed in my house ever again. I took one look at that shirt and asked him if he had any money. He said no and asked why. I told him that shirt showed a marked lack of respect for both my daughter and my wife. I pulled two 20s out of my wallet and quietly ushered him back out the door and towards the Walmart 3 miles away and told him to buy a more respectful shirt and come back with it on. Mind you, this whole exchange took place between him and I without an audience. He was gone for 15 minutes, came back with a nice polo shirt on. We had a nice dinner together and nothing was mentioned of the incident. The next day, my daughter came to me and her mother and told us what I did humiliated him. They aren't in breakup territory or anything, and no yelling or anything of the sort went on. My wife did tell me I could have handled it different. So wait, hold on. So let me get this fucking straight. Number one, OP didn't kill this guy. Like, that's a fucking miracle right there, man. If I had a daughter, I'm not fucking dumb. Kids are gonna do what kids do. And like, I would hope that if my daughter is sexually active, she feels comfortable enough to come to me and have conversations to make sure that she's being safe about it. That's how I think a modern relationship should be between father and daughter or son. That being said, if my daughter's boyfriend rocked up to my fucking house with that shirt on, if I didn't own a gun, I would buy one to threaten him with. Cause what the fuck do you mean? That's a whole nother level of disrespect. That's number one. Number two, is this wife on crack cocaine? Genuine question. What do you mean you could have handled it different other than shooting the guy? Like, what are we talking about? What in the fuck did the wife want OP to do other than being the most respectful that any dad would be in that situation, giving him money to go buy a different shirt and not addressing it to his family? Like, if that's me, I am threatening him with a gun and then telling my daughter, hey, so why are we putting up with this? Why? Hi, Beans. He's like, Dad is crashing out. He needs a kitty to pet. Oh, yes. What a handsome boy. Yes, yes. Oh, yes. It is Beans time. It is pay attention to Beans. And now he is going to the window. Okay. Oh, no, he's coming back. We got a Beans back. We got the Beans back. I also think you need to have the conversation with your daughter that's like, hey, so this guy showed up in this shirt. Do you understand why this is fucking disrespectful? Like, as somebody who would be like, hey, you're 19. I understand you're going to be doing that shit. But to have your partner walk into my house with that shirt on is fucking ridiculous. Like, I hope any daughter that I raise would hear about that and be like, holy fuck, who is this idiot I'm bringing around my parents? Just insane shit. So Reddit, am I wrong for handling it this way? And if so, how could I have handled it? Edit, I'm 57 and a long haul truck driver, so I've had my share of bad moments. Most of us guys here can remember stupid things that we did as a teen, even into our 20s. The ones that stood out for me are the ones where someone didn't react with anger or malice. They were the ones that someone reacted with constructive kindness. One where a quiet redemption was offered, where a mirror was quietly held up to my behavior. Those are the ones I learned from and appreciated the most. Hopefully he comes out the other side with a new appreciation for kindness offered quietly and without fanfare. Just my thoughts. You're a much better person than me, OP. I'll say that, because ain't no fucking way. Good for you. You're probably right. Like, I would have fucking never. Like, there are so many 19-year-olds out there who just wouldn't, you know? Don't you want your daughter to date that one? Not the one who comes out of the box like a fucking idiot. The one that came out of the fucking box thinking, yeah, this is the shirt that I'm wearing to my girlfriend's family dinner. Huh? There's so many better ones. And you should teach your daughter to go after those ones, not this fucking idiot. Yeah, the door would have been in bro's face. I mean, bare minimum. That's fucking crazy. Like, I understand OP's approach with, like, other behaviors, but that's just a line you don't cross. Disrespecting your partner and their parents in one fell swoop? I'm sorry. I don't think that deserves kindness. And clearly it didn't work, by the way. Like, I understand because I've been there. I've had my share of bad moments. Most of us guys can remember stupid things that we did as a teen. Yes, 100%. I relate to that. That being said, it's a whole different kind of stupid to rock up to a family family dinner with your partner with this fuck-ass shirt on. And what was his takeaway? He told us what you did, and it really humiliated him. Oh, God forbid a guy gets humiliated when he's called out respectfully on disrespectful behavior. Yeah, bro, honestly, I'm not like trying to come after OP and how he reacted. Like, it's a very mature way to do it, but like, you might have given him too much grace. Like with that previous story we read about like the wife being like, we need to teach our child to show grace. There's certain times where grace should not be shown, and I don't think this is one of them. Just no. The boyfriend was lucky to be let in the house. That's how I feel, Summer. Ain't no way that kid would ever come into my house. Bro would have to write me a 5-paragraph MLA formatted apology letter, and I might think about it. Xenon, I agree with you. I'm crashing out about the wife, low-key. I'm curious what the wife's definition of handled it different would have been. If I reacted the way that I feel like I would have, and my wife came up to me and was like, you could have handled that a little bit differently, I would have been like, yeah, you're probably right. But he handled it in literally the nicest way possible without fucking crashing out on this man. Update number 1. After reading these comments and listening to everyone's point of view, I sat my daughter down this morning and asked what her boyfriend actually said to her. This changes my opinion of him. Apparently, he'd not told my daughter what the phrase was on the shirt, but did tell her, accurately, what I said to him and asked him to do. He didn't use the word humiliated. That was DD's interpretation. Is that OP's daughter? Who the fuck is DD? Dear daughter? That's what that stands for? Why didn't he just say daughter? That was my daughter's interpretation. Her rush to defend him came from our examples. Apparently, she took notes of times I've defended my wife and vice versa. She also took note of our disagreements in private after the fact. She's going to talk to him when he gets back tomorrow to follow up on why he thought that shirt was appropriate for the family setting. I'll update again after that conversation. Okay, so it sounds like your daughter didn't have the full information, and I guess therefore, because of that, your wife didn't have the full information. And this is why, y'all, I think it's important, don't get me wrong, like, yeah, bro, handled him with kitty gloves, and maybe that's what he needed. But like, I do think if your daughter's partner makes a big fucky wucky that clearly shows they have an error in judgment, that is something that you should bring to them. Like, if I brought a girl around my parents, and she did something that was wildly inappropriate, I would want my parents to tell me so I could talk about it with them. Update number 2. My daughter called him about an hour ago, and this will be informative. She asked him why he'd not told her what the shirt said when he talked to her. His reply was telling, because it was embarrassing. Then she went on to ask him why he wore it originally, and he admitted that the shirt had been a gift from his 21-year-old older brother, and that the older brother had dared him to wear the shirt, called him a chicken when he objected, etc. Dumb sibling crap, apparently. She went on to tell him that none of what he'd done was cool and that she really liked him and that he'd always been kind to her. She said she wasn't breaking up with him, but that these steps needed to be done. First, he needed to explain to his parents the entire situation. Second, he needed to show up in person to our home and bring the money for the shirt and, as she put it, put in a whole ass-kissing session that included the explanation of the dare, etc. She said that if this was handled well, they could talk about moving forward and what that looked like. After the phone call, she talked to her mom and I and admitted that she forgot her worth. She said that I, as long as she'd been alive, had never gone out of my way to embarrass her mom, and that I'd always been respectful and not let anyone be disrespectful to her mom. This made me feel good. So she wasn't going to settle for less. Good for her. I'll update this after his visit later tomorrow afternoon. I don't know, man. I'm trying to remember how I was at 19, but like, this is the fucking funniest shit to me. So bro just said, no balls. And he was like, fuck, man. He said I had no balls. I have to risk my relationship because my older brother said I have no balls. Like, shit, man, like I was dumb. I did dumb shit, but I would like to think that I wouldn't have succumbed to this level of dumbassery. But I don't know. I can't remember, honestly. Like, I was a dumbass, but I was a dumbass in like other ways that didn't hurt other people. Like, most of my dumbassery just left me embarrassed for myself and embarrassed nobody else. It's forgivable, but it's real stupid. I mean, honestly, out of anything, like, it just gives me the ick. Your daughter sounds too mature for this man. Update 3. This will make those of you following this saga laugh. I received a call this evening from Mr. Boyfriend's parents. Firstly, they are mortified and extremely apologetic. Secondly, and the whole best part of this update, in parentheses, I have their permission to squeal, is that his parents are on Reddit and commented on my post in support of the way I handled the situation. They told me that they love my daughter and that we'd raised her right and had not raised their sons to show this level of disrespect for anyone, let alone his girlfriend. Apparently, boyfriend was following up on one of my daughter's conditions and went to talk to his parents. As the story unfolded, his mom reached for her phone, opened Reddit, and yelled, "Is this about fucking you?" To quote his dad, as the son read the first half paragraph, he died a little inside. So anyways, they're going to come to dinner tomorrow evening with boyfriend. More updates tomorrow night. Man, that's gotta be a very sobering realization where you're like, oh my God, this crazy Reddit story of a fucking evil boyfriend. And then like, oh, that's my son. Okay, at least the parents will hold the kid accountable. Okay, update 4. Dinner was very pleasant. Let me say that his parents are great. Boyfriend showed up with red roses for my daughter and yellow roses for my wife. He offered what I thought was a very sincere apology and a card with the entire $40 in it, even though he'd given me the change and receipt on the original night. I cooked tonight to give my wife a break. I made an Indian dish called butter chicken with basmati rice. Neither had eaten curry before, but loved it. Woohoo! As it turns out, older brother is the family athlete, JV soccer, V soccer, and a sports scholarship for soccer, the quintessential jock. Little brother is the exact opposite, artistic. In parentheses, he's got real talent, sensitive, quiet, and felt like he never measured up to big brother, and works to gain big brother's respect. Brother takes full advantage of this and exploits his little brother for shits and giggles. Near the end of dinner, daughter says, I think I'll keep him around for a little longer. You guys okay with that? We are good with that for now. His mom is the boss, though, for thinking outside the box. As punishment to older brother, mom went into his clothing drawers and closet, took every shirt off of him, and bought him 8 very bright pink t-shirts that he'll wear until he realizes just how damaging exploiting anyone is. His access to cash is also cut off until said lesson is learned. Anyway, a successful night with new friends was enjoyed. Hope this was the update you hoped. I mean, honestly, in 2026, I don't think a very bright pink t-shirt is that embarrassing. You gotta get him one of those t-shirts that's like, if you bully me, I'll come. You know what I'm saying? That's what bro needs to wear. I understand like little brother is the exact opposite, wants to gain big brother's respect, but like, let's not let him off scot-free. You know what I'm saying? Small update, which is update number 5. Just to give you some info, older brother has been much better for the last little bit and actually enjoys the pink shirts. Apparently his girlfriend likes them and he's got a few compliments. My lovely daughter is more than ready to go back for her spring semester. Boyfriend has been around the house more and has been very respectful. The two of them read the comments here and she teases him. I know they're technically adults, but my wife and I insist on the door being open in any room they occupy together. Nothing is derailing her education. Her and her older brother are amazing scholars and we are immensely proud of them. My wife is a teacher with 30 years experience and I'm a truck driver for 25 years, but I'm also educated with a degree in clinical psychology. Anyway, I'm rambling, take care. And then there's one more tiny update here. My daughter, my son, and my daughter's boyfriend head back to school this next weekend. I miss them immensely when they're gone, but I'm proud and excited for their futures. Boyfriend has been very respectful and shows real kindness. His parents and older brother came for dinner last weekend again. We are becoming quick friends, so things are going well. Thank you all so very much from both my wife and I for the kind words. All right, I guess the boyfriend redeemed himself, but like also bro's a little bit on thin ice. You better be putting in work. I guess that could be like a funny story for the wedding. OP sounds like such a great dad, I have to say. Shit, maybe I gotta take notes on how to be like not fucking nuclear when someone shows up with a shirt about my daughter giving them a blowjob, but I don't know. I still don't think I'd be too crazy for fucking crashing out about that. You know what? Reddit stories very rarely end positively, so let's just take this one, you know? Big fat WWs. Yeah, I don't know if that was really that much of a punishment with the pink shirt. There's some extra punishment that could be done there. I think out of anything though, like as much as yeah, that big brother is an asshole, I think you really got to hammer it in with the younger kid of like, hey, peer pressure is not worth succumbing to. Whether it's from your brother, whether it's from a boss, a colleague, a friend, whatever, like at the end of the day, you should take a step back and look at, okay, this person wants me to do this thing. Is this something I actually want to do? Is this something that's going to damage my relationship with my friends or my girlfriend or my girlfriend's parents? Like, I think that's where the work needs to be done here is like, hey, you need to understand that like the reason this happened is a character flaw. And that's what parents should really hammer in with their kids is like, I understand the dangers of peer pressure, but you need to teach your kids and talk to them about what that peer pressure can lead to.